We're getting a
Is anyone here? What did you find? You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
Hello, everybody! Woohoo!
Wow, okay, that was a great Robbie Williams concert that we just went to.
I promise you, John, when I practice and rehearse, it sounded a lot better than just now when I did live.
I think it's the guitar. lah. When the guitar gives you the key, you are relatively in the vicinity of the key. So it's not bad.
Not bad, oh, really. Thank you. That's high praise coming from John. In case of you who have just joined us only recently and don't know who Jonathan is my co-host. He is the Immortal Jonathan Lim. Myself, I'm the Prince of Paranormal, your host, and you see my face many years. But for those of you who don't recognize this bearded man, although you should if you have been with us for the last 1 year or more, because he's also on Tuesday Ghost Mortem. Why I say he's very talented? Because he's a singer, songwriter as well. He's directing, producing, screenplay, acting, and now he's doing tours. That guy, I don't know. John, what do you not do? Do you even cook? Tell me your flaw. Is there like something you don't do?
No, I don't cook. Yeah.
See, there we go.
I think that's the only thing.
And John also writes, he has a book called Between Gods and Ghosts. Gods and Ghosts. Yeah, I always get the name wrong. And we will be hosting the live show coming on 6th January 2024. Ooh. If you've not gotten your tickets, today is the last day. Actually, yesterday is the last day to get your 10% off. I'm standing it just today because we are doing the Friday Night Live. And if you have not heard about it, click the link above in the comment section. It'll bounce you straight to a registration page. Put it up there. Half the tickets have been sold already.
So fast.
Half already.
Nice.
Yeah, because I told myself if I don't hit at least minimum half, and obviously I cannot pay the rent, right? So we will call it off, but we have hit it even at pre-sale. So thank you, Supernatural Confessions community, for supporting us. In fact, we did this live show because you guys wanted it, lah.
And it's not just going to be a get-together for all of us, right? Because we see each other every Friday, right? It's also a great chance to bring people who you have been trying to persuade to lure into our web. You know, what a wonderful way to introduce them to us than to do it live with alcohol.
And I also want to say thank you to DJ Jason Lim. He doesn't spin, he tells dad jokes. That's Jason Lim for you. And we also have one more blessing that came in from Chiki.
Thank you. Tell us about these blessings. How does this work?
So you will want to hit that $sign right below the comment section. And if you enjoy listening to John and I and to our guest today, put in any amount you want. Put in any super emoticon, super chat. And also because we feel that a lot of the comments is just going to fly past our head. And if you want us to read out your comments, you put in whatever amount you want, and it pops out a nice big colored box, and we will not miss it. Okay, this is our last show of the year before we take a much needed break from Friday Night Live, but that doesn't mean work stopped behind the scenes. We are still doing programming and planning a lot of stuff for you guys.
Wow, but it's been a pretty crazy year, man. Pretty crazy season as well.
And what I intend to do, John, this is actually John's suggestion, is to look back at what we have done in 2023 and show it to you guys on the 6th of Jan at a live show.
Nice. Yeah.
And cover some of the best of confessions that we did not cover on Friday Night Live.
Nice. It sounds like 6th Jan is going to be fun. So please be there, everybody.
Yeah. Who's the first? Let me see. I remember I took
Today was Elia Mona Lisa.
Yes, and Jujube
who was also first last week.
Last week, yeah. Oh, she very on the ball.
So I think she got a formula already. Congrats, Elia, Jujube number 2. Yay.
Yeah, and Jujube is actually going to Australia today, so she's trying to catch us before she goes to her flight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So do forgive us if we do not read out every single name today because we have started slightly late. And also thank you, Samuel Yen, for your, very generous blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel, old friend of mine. Yay.
And if you want to support us consistently, there is another way to do it.
How? Tell me.
Oops. There we go. There's some new names that came in today. I didn't get the chance to put it up there, but I promise to do it post-show. This one, we have sentient entities, wandering spirits, restless souls. These are our patrons. Elaine Chua, Tunku Alsatian, Mko Green, ZP Met, Queen Lai, Lim Teck Chuan, Elvin Sensei VL, Casey Chan, Alexa O, Janice Ang, Jacqueline N, Yong Kwan Yu, Han J, Ko CC, Jerwin, Dato Easy. In Wandering Spirit, we have Joel Go, Deborah Confield, Chia King To, Linda Hayden, LEX, Jess Neo, Jerry Fish, Bibi Teo, Te Hakweed, Thu Sands, Elvin Lim, Kenny Polaris, Jayanti Saradzu, TTB, Jujube, HW Te, ZP, Devin Des. In Restless Souls, we have Suchieto, Grace Chai, who's also known as Kai Alchemy. So we see her pop in as Kai Alchemy, that's who she is. Candy Chia, Ron K, Jack Ong, Nicholas Pua, Burke, Serin Tan, Rachel Y, Kelvin C, and Lechmi. So if you're interested to have more behind the scenes footage, chat with us directly, go to patreon.com/supernaturalconfessions. See?
Yeah.
All right, John.
Wow. Okay, come. What is tonight's first treat?
So tonight we got 3-hour special, as with in line with all our annual finale show. But today I brought in a guest. We have a guest with us.
A guest?
Okay, we have 4 guests. 4, not 1. I was very worried that my system couldn't handle it.
That remains to be seen. Okay, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
These guys are the folks behind Haunting History. Many of you who have been fans and followers of Supernatural Confessions, you may have seen these videos on Vidsi where I was hosting, talking about both historical facts as well as the dark history of the place and haunting stories, of course. So if you are tuning in right now, why don't you just like and share this post, because it's not always that we get to see the people working behind the scenes come up to the forefront, put in front of the camera and tell stories. They shook, no, ask me to tell story every time. Now I put them in front here. Come, you all tell story.
I like.
Yeah. And Haunting History, just before we call him in, Haunting History is a mini-series on Vidsi. It started off supposed to be nuggets on Vidsi. So if you have not liked Nuggets, you're not like Vixie, just go on down to YouTube, check out. They have lots of great content. But why don't we just hear it from the team themselves and get to describe what the hell is this Haunting History about?
Ooh.
Okay, John, are you ready?
Come, let's meet them.
Vidsi team, are you guys ready behind the scenes? Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey. Welcome. Welcome to Friday Night Live. You want to tell everyone who you are? Okay, I guess we can go in clockwise order.
Okay,
let's
clockwise order. Who's above me?
Start. Who? Hi.
Above me.
I am Isabel. I was the director and producer for Haunting History. So if you have any questions about any of the episodes, you just let us know. And I'll do our best to answer it.
That's a dangerous promise. Okay.
Actually, Isabel today, something about Isabel today looks very different from the times I usually see her on set.
Okay, I cannot help because I've never seen her.
Is the hair or is it the lipstick? She dolled up today.
I did.
Wow. Okay.
Because now they're in front of the camera, right? So must present.
Let's present a bit.
Okay. So who's on the right of Isabel?
Diagonally across here.
Hi, I'm Atika, the assistant producer for Haunting History. Yeah.
Hi,
so I assist Isabel. Yeah. For the
Okay. And down here, next to me.
Hi, I'm Angeline. I'm the intern that is assisting both of them in Haunting History.
No lah, Angeline, don't be shy. You're no longer an intern already, as of yesterday.
Yeah. It's so happy to be my last day of intern today. I'm doing to them now.
Oh no, intern also gets sabo. Okay.
Oh, man.
I'm slightly suspicious because both of you have the same background. Is there a reason why? Is there a reason why you have the same background? Are you in the same place?
We're in the same place. Yeah.
Debunked. Okay. Now we know your secret.
Okay.
Welcome, guys, to Friday Night Live. They're also in the YouTube chat. So if there are specific questions that you guys out there in the chat group have for them, please shoot to them. Okay. We'll try to respond. But I think with 3 of them going, I think there'll be a lot of things missed. So if you really do want your message to be seen or your question to be answered, use the super chat, and that will help us a lot. Okay. All right. So what are they gonna tell us about, Eugene?
Okay, so Isabel, why don't we start with you first? Give us what's the inspiration for haunting history and what's it about.
So our inspiration for haunting history was we were tasked with, for the first time, doing a bunch of original shows, which means that we could do whatever we wanted and we weren't restricted by other entities. So we were like, you know what would never get approved is a ghost hunting show. But we didn't want to do just like your normal average ghost hunting where we just go explore with EMF and hope for the best. We wanted to add a little bit of like an educational, informational section. So we wanted to explore places in Singapore with
Mhm.
a particularly dark history or with like rumored histories that were not common. So yeah, that was the inspiration behind it.
And
So maybe tell us some of the sites that you guys went to. Give us a sneak preview.
So we went to 5 places. We went to the very famous Old Changi Hospital, which was like a given. It was also like the one place where everybody wanted to go, but also not go. So to find people to film in our office was very difficult. Then we went to Fort Canning Park, where it was a lot easier to find people to go to Fort Canning Park because Eugene kept saying, "Oh, it's not haunted. It's not haunted. It's okay. Scariest thing there is the dirty condom." I was like, "Okay, sure." And the third place we went was Sembawang Park, which had a lot of stories attached to it. And we wanted someone who had a history to Sembawang Park. So actually our guest co-host for that was her name is Shahira. She's from our office. Her dad actually grew up there.
Oh, at Kampong Wat Hassan.
Yeah, so he's from Kampong
Wow.
Wat Hassan. So we were like, yeah, we gotta get her.
Wonderful.
And then the fourth one was Hoppa Villa, because a lot of
Mhm.
people were like, oh my god, Hoppa Villa is so haunted. But I'm pretty sure we debunked that fact. Um, we did our best lah. But we never said anything about the outside of Hoppa Villa. That is a bit different.
Yeah, it's all haunted except Hoppa Villa. Okay.
Yeah, but everything else was like a bit
Yes.
iffy. Inside, we were a lot safer. Inside,
Yes.
Attika could take off her backpack. For those of you who don't know, Attika, our assistant producer, every single shoot, she wore a backpack to protect herself
Right.
from the elements.
Like Attica the Explorer. Okay.
Yeah, except for
Hmm.
Hoppa Villa and the last episode, which was Makam Radin Mas Ayu.
so
Mm,
there is a
of
picture
course.
on the screen right now. Y'all cannot see. It's
I see. That's the
Attica
backpack.
with
Is it?
all the backpack in front pack, backpack, everything.
Oh.
It's she just wouldn't let go of the backpack.
What
She
was in the back?
super
What was in,
protected.
what was in the backpack, Attica? Any hints you can give us?
Okay, actually, there was nothing like specific in the backpack except for, I guess, a ball park, which we will
Ah.
debunk later on.
I see.
So the reason why I wore a backpack is because I felt safe. Like like turtle shell.
So were you planning to withdraw into the backpack if anything happened and leave everyone else to their
Like,
fate?
you
Is
know,
it?
you won't feel like anything is touching you. Like if you're
Mm.
filming and then what if suddenly there was a hand across your back? Nah,
Ah.
I don't want that.
What
So
if suddenly the thing clinging to your back isn't your backpack anymore?
Then
no, it's
how?
backpack.
See, now you plan this kind of things in her head. next shoot she cannot.
Season 2 change back. Season 2 change back.
Yeah, I'll find another backpack. And I'll
I'm
carry
sure
it
Eugene.
around.
I'm sure Eugene can suggest some necessary things that you should put in the backpack for extra safety.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
this bunch of guys are on set now. While we are going to haunted places and trying to find. I mean, the whole point is to get evidence of haunting. Then I realized, why aren't the spirit coming towards us? There seemed to be this whole parameter of dome where the spirits just don't want to
Right.
come in no matter how much you invite them.
Force field.
Yeah. And then we go like, then I ask, is anyone carrying anything? And then my guest was like, yeah, I have some protection beads. And then this Attica never say no. Her bag is Arsenal, got Quran, got everything inside.
It wasn't a Quran. So the guest was a Malay Muslim lady, which is Shah. She came and she's like, okay, Atika, you need extra protection today. So I'm gonna put it in your bag. And so there was like a slit like next like right beside my bed, right? So she placed it in there. So Sembawang Park is like we're going to like all through the jungle and
Mm.
places. So I'm actually well protected. Except that our producer, our dear producer, she was like helping me. She was standing beside me, but she likes to wander around during shoot. And
Mm.
then suddenly we saw her stretching her hand. And we're like, are you stretching? She didn't say anything until she get back. And she's like, no, something was trying to touch you.
Oh.
I'm like, no way.
I always wonder about these protective things, right? You carry, right? Is there a radius? And if there's a radius, doesn't mean that everyone around you should stay within the radius, so they are protected by you. Because if they are outside the radius, they're actually sabotaged by you, right? It's like the mosquitoes, right? If you are near enough to me, my repellent protect you. If you are too far from me, my repellent send the mosquitoes to you instead, right? So should we walk close to your backpack at all times, right?
Yeah, I was trying to get her to come stand next to me because she was wandering into the woods, which is
Aiyo.
very dark. Yeah.
I
This
was
was
just
as a
curious. I was just curious about what was there because I could
Mm.
sense something deeper into the woods. And it was
That's
the
how-
only place that didn't have all of our bright lights. So I was like, you
That-
know what? I'm just gonna check it out. It's fine. I'm safe.
Sure, that's never happened in a horror movie before. Never.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like the typical like white person, like, oh, I hear a noise. Let me go check it out instead
Yeah.
of running in the opposite direction.
Oh, and then there's this other moment where Atika and I both was like, "What were you doing?"
Yeah.
She not. This is in Sembawang Park. There's lots of trees, and Sembawang Park is already so much. There's such, the reputation of being so keras. And what's the number one rule? Boys who've gone to army will know this: never shine your torchlight at trees. Right? We even talk about that during our Changi tour. Then you get this director there, Isabel with a torchlight. Then Atika already with a backpack, everything front and back. She was like panicking. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you summoning the Pontiana?
No. Eugene was asking me. No, Eugene was turning to me and asked, like, Atika, you know what they say, right? And then I'm like, yeah. And then she looked really clueless. And then we're like, we have to explain it to her. We're like, you're not supposed to shine the torchlight on the tree. And then, yeah, I guess Shah at that point of time could see something.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Just to interrupt, thank you to Jui for your blessing. Thank you very much, Jui. She sends a heart. Hello, thank you.
I think Drew is a guy.
Oh, is it? Okay, Jui. I don't know. It's
Jui.
Elmo to me, lah.
Yeah.
So Jui the Elmo. Thank you.
In my defense, I am not from here. And I did not know that was a thing. Okay. So I was hoping after they told me, I was like,
So you were
"Aya,
not given the briefing.
no.
Eugene, you lead
no,
people
no,
into the
it's-
Sembawang woods without giving them the briefing.
Isabel had no excuse. She came for our haunted walk with Hantu Changi. And we told you guys not to shine torchlight at trees.
Maybe she thinks that only applies in Changi.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, okay, it's just the Changi trees,
Sembawang
right?
is literally the other end of the island, so it
Yeah.
doesn't
Sembawang's so
count.
far. It's different.
Even the ghosts want to go there.
Exactly right. Ayo, Eugene. Okay.
Okay. And let's go to the intern. Intern, you usually the interns will be the one that been sent to do all the dirtiest work, right? So Angeline, what-
Usually first to die, lah.
yeah.
Right. In
Because of Atika. Atika, at one point in time, she was so scared. Then she felt like her heart was about to jump out. Her Apple Watch was also like rising, her health thing was rising. So end up, she looked at Isabel. So end up, Isabel was like, intern, go. Yeah, so at one point in time was like, me and Eugene had to walk into the gate, some gate. Then after that, it was just me and him. Then before that, I was like, oh my god. Then Eugene was telling me, Eugene was telling everyone. At the point of time, like, once you go through the gate, there's a chance that you might not even come back or you will get lost.
It's Bunyan Village.
I was like, okay, just me and you. There's a possibility of not coming back. Okay.
But she bravely followed me through the doors.
Yeah, but even work is work. I have to listen to my producer as an
Aw.
turn.
But you
so-
came back, right? You came back, right?
Yes, safe and sound.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad. That's why you are no longer an intern, right? You were brave.
Yeah. But so whenever that Atika is scared, right? I'll do her job instead. You know?
And
Like whenever Isabel looks at me, that's it, I'm doing her job.
But did she at least give you the backpack to take with you or not?
I know that.
Walao, Atika.
Wait, but she had protection. She just didn't say it.
Yeah, correct. You had a
So I don't have
talisman.
to protect her.
You know, mothers are very like protective of their children sometimes, you know. Like, as a Chinese, you know, they go temple, then they'll pray and give you the amulet. Yeah. So I just hid it in my pocket and pray hard that no one can find
Hid it
out.
in my pocket. You see what I'm dealing with, John? That's why we couldn't get anything at Sembawang.
Do you expect them to go with no protection? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I
that-
thought, I thought all of them before the shoot. I was like, y'all better take everything out of your pockets,
And my
Like
one is
y'all,
small.
y'all don't come to my shoot with prayer bead, rosary, talisman.
Oh no, Atika was way bigger and mine was just very small amulet, you know.
Oh dear, oh dear.
So
oh dear.
outrageous smaller,
Yeah, maybe you never know eh.
Okay, so I assume that you were relatively safe in these 5 places that you visited, right? Extremely safe. You all came back safe and sound. No one's possessed, right? But are there things that happened which people who watch the series would know about? That's what I'm curious about.
There
Any
was old
Behind
Changi
the scenes
Hospital.
hauntings. Tell.
So there was at Old Changi Hospital, there was one part where Saturn, who was the co-host at that time, went up the hill by himself to the guardhouse,
Mhm.
towards the guardhouse, and he came running back because he thought we were all behind him, but we weren't. So he came running back down the hill. He came up to me and he was like, "Isabel, there's something inside the guardhouse, right?" I was like, "Yes, correct." Because I went on the Changi walk prior to do a little bit of scouting.
Sure.
And during the Changi walk, when you guys brought us to the guardhouse,
Mm.
I actually felt something pulling on me. And I was like, okay, let me get out of this guardhouse real quick.
And you immediately thought, we'll come back here and I'll send someone else.
Yeah. So I stayed outside the guardhouse the entire time. You can see my face. I was very scared. I was like close to tears because Saturn is like way braver than me. So he was inside by himself at one point with Willie, who's our other producer and cameraman. And he was like, "Is there a spirit here? Like, can you tell me where you are?" And I was outside. I was like, "Please don't say these kinds of things." But also, it's really good content. So I'm very torn right now. And he kept asking me, he was like, "Is it a male spirit? Is it a female spirit?" I was like, "I can't tell you for sure because my third eye is not open and I refuse to open it. I can only sense them and sometimes hear them. And as far as I knew from the Changi walk, it was a male spirit. But as was revealed, there was a male spirit, but there was also a female spirit on the roof just hanging on for dear life in the corner." And Saturn very bravely pointed the EMF here, there, everywhere. Like, "Are you here? Are you there? Where are you?" And it was outside, like, "Please God."
Okay, so you're here today to share with us some interesting confessions. Who wants to go first, I wonder?
I can go first.
Okay. Can I not, Eugene?
Can.
Okay.
Which episode you want?
What's your best one?
I think there was one at Old Changi Hospital where I was alone because everybody was filming near the offering area. And so I was sitting a bit further away and I had the EMF and I was just sitting and I could sense something. So I was just talking and I was like, if there's anything here, can you make the EMF jump once for yes and twice for no? And it was like, yes. And I was like, "Oh, that's so fun. Good for you." And then I was like talking to it. I was like, "Is it okay that we're here?" And it was like, "Yes." And I was like, that's great. Cool. And then I was like, do we have to leave soon? And it was like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. That's awesome. And I think the best part was I had a mic for the first couple of episodes, like just in case I had to say something. So Willie, who was the one that that had my mic in his ear, could hear me whispering the entire time to myself. And so every now and then I did notice he was turning back to look at me to be like, why are you talking to yourself? But I wasn't talking to myself. I was talking to whatever was touching the EMF. And, I was like, I'm so sorry that we are disturbing you. And it went like, no. And I was like, no, it's okay. Or like, no, it's not okay. And I realized that was a very difficult question for it to answer. So I was like, is it okay? And then they just went, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. I turned off the EMF. I was like, I'm done.
How long were you in there in total?
I think
Or
I was
how
by
long were you on your
myself.
own?
Maybe like 7 minutes of them filming without me. So I was like, just chilling.
It's about, remember the one where we were in the front gate and we were filming and we started asking the spirits if they were there and then the alarm went off.
Yeah. So the alarm is kind of my fault because I was the first one to arrive that day for shoot, and I was very early. So I was standing outside the gate, and I was very far from the gate, and I was like, "Yo, if there's anything here, it would be super sick if you could like show up and show out for us." And then the alarm started ringing, and I was like, "Not right now, like maybe later."
Was this the motion sensor alarm?
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I
okay.
think I don't know if it's my fault, but I was very far away from the motion sensor. Government, if you're listening, I was not anywhere near the motion sensors, but it was still going off. So I was like, you know what? Could you just like chill out for a bit? Let us film a little bit of the intro first, then you can have up later.
What time of the day was this?
This was like,
It's Maghrib time.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
7 p.m.
that would be time to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was the time that we start filming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very brave. Very brave.
Almost for every shoot.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Atika, do you have a confession for us?
Yes, of course. Okay, so mine is also okay. So just a disclaimer. Before this, I don't want anything to happen to me. That's why I had a backpack on.
Yes, we guessed that much. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were very interested in the topic of like haunting history. So we definitely do want to go to these places. And my story also it's at Changi Hospital, but this was when we went for the recce, which is when we went for the night walk with you guys. So
This
you
is
know
the
how like the start of the night walk, I'm like, okay, this is chill. Like, yeah, it's okay until it builds up, And then when we're really at the front of the gates of Old Changi Hospital, that's when I think Isabel saw like a complete change in me because I'm always very talkative. I always talk and just be cheerful. But she saw a complete change. She's like, I think I'm having headache. I opened up my bag. I gave her a sweet, take this. This is like, I think they don't like the flags. And I'm like, okay, Isabel. So I just gave her like a one-word answer. At that point of time, I guess I was trying to protect myself as well. But and
Sorry lah.
I felt very different because like right after I think you guys did, what was it? Oh, the offering.
Yeah.
I could hear singing. Like a lot of people singing. And that's when I was like, am I hearing something like really behind me or what is it? I was trying to hear it, but I was keeping quiet. At the same time, I don't want to hear it. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Do you remember what the singing was like? What kind of song or what language?
Maybe it's in Chinese, but and there were like a lot of people. They were like really happy. But
Oh.
Oh.
yeah, when I went back, I told my mom.
Mm.
She was asking like, "Is it like opera singing and
Mm.
whatnot?" And I was like, "No, it's not opera singing. It's like there were like a lot of people singing.
So like a crowd singing.
Yeah, and they were like really happy.
Any
You know,
instruments, any accompaniment, or just
no, just
voices?
their voices.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
when I started like asking after we got out of the place and all
Mm.
that. I started asking like, "Do you hear it?" And I guess Isabel said no. Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
was my
interesting.
very first experience though.
How long did that singing go on? Do you recall?
Uh, I think until you ask, I don't know. Was it that like everyone have to tell a story? Yeah, I think then it stopped.
So it was actually while we were giving the offerings.
After.
Right after, right before,
Okay,
Right
right.
between the
after.
stories and the burning.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see, I see. Wow. Okay, okay. Well, hopefully,
So
hopefully they were singing because they were happy to get the offerings. But
yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I'm glad it was happy singing. Okay.
Yeah. But really, I have not like really
Mm.
hear or sense anything. I guess that's like the very first time.
And what was
Yeah.
your first sort of emotional reaction when you heard that sound?
My heart was thumping, but
Mm.
my watch did not detect it. Not the same as Sembawang Park. Sembawang Park, I guess it was just another another different feeling. But
Ah,
yeah, I guess like I was reciting prayers to myself as well, lah.
okay.
But like quietly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
But
it
So
was an experience. It was an experience.
I remember
wow.
after the tour when everybody was sitting down for our milkshakes, our strawberry banana
Yes.
milkshakes. I remember
Yes.
Atika asking around and asking if anybody else heard the singing
Mm.
or the humming, and a few people at the table said yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, cool. I was just minding my own business, being like, oh my god, my head hurts because I'm so tired from walking up this really big ass hill. And I wanna sit down and drink my milkshake in peace.
Yes,
And the
I
people at the table are all
well.
like, y'all heard all these noises, y'all saw that thing in the guardhouse, saw this, saw that. I was like,
I'm curious. I definitely think it'll be interesting to go back to the people who were there that night and find out what was being sung. Oh, Eugene, just to get a little bit more detail.
I think some
But
heard humming, but I did not hear
Mm,
humming. It
right.
was really voices. So
No.
我等着你回来。
I know not that.
So they were singing it better than Eugene, right?
It was very like school choir kind.
Oh.
Wow, school choir.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
So it's like Glee lah. Okay.
the
Okay.
ghost glee club just hanging out.
Okay, we're gonna ask people on the next tour to listen out very carefully, just in case, they're singing. Wow. Okay. 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 I keep hearing things about Sembawang. Does anyone have a confession? Does anyone have a confession about what happened at Sembawang, or a secret to reveal about Sembawang?
I think I can share mine. Mine quite small. Like it's not very, very like direct contact that kind of thing.
Ah.
But yeah, so I was filming. So again, Atika was scared. Yeah, so
I see the pattern. Yes.
had to go and do her job. So at that point of time, Shah had to be left alone with the
Okay.
AI. Yeah, so I had to be with
Okay.
her. So it was just me and Shah. Yeah, so
Mm.
halfway through filming, for me, I have never experienced humming before. But at that point of time, I did hear humming after
Ah.
our producer took away her protection.
Mm.
Yeah.
What
So
did it sound like? Can you describe that humming?
like female, like that kind of soft humming, but it wasn't very loud. It was just like I don't know how to describe. I'm not gonna sing it, but yeah, it's just very calm, just normal female humming that kind of thing.
Was it just one voice?
It was just one voice, but I was like, maybe I'm hallucinating or what. But because opposite while that we are filming the area is like a beach. It's like a
Right.
sea area. And so I was thinking,
Okay.
oh, maybe it's from the beach area, maybe it's the sea. Then I was just very focused. Then but all the more I hear, like I'm just hearing hummings, not the sea sound. Yeah.
Right. So
But I didn't feel very scared because at that point of time I was just like, okay, maybe never mind. My job is more important. If I were to run away now, I'll be the one that's dead. Yeah.
and did it sound the melody? Do you remember it? Was it an old melody, a modern melody?
I think it's more of the older, the ancient, like
Okay. Any culture that you can link it to? Did it sound Chinese, Malay, Indian?
more Chinese. Yeah.
But it's a Malay village.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Wak Hassan, but okay.
Oh no, actually, that place is not really Wak Hassan. It's
Okay. Where exactly?
Kampung Tanjung Irau.
Oh, that's
But
way
then,
older.
whenever people go there, they call it Kampung Wak Hassan because it's way easier. Kampung Wak Hassan is just next to it.
Okay. Wow.
So in the map-
How long ago did this kampong disappear? Much earlier, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It disappeared first, if I'm not wrong, before Kampung Wak Hassan. Because Kampung Wak Hassan was really on the left of this this place. Because this is nearer to the mosque area. Where there was the gate. I forgot his name.
The cycle and carriage guy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Although it's a Malay village, right? But actually, at the point of time when we filmed, actually there was a Chinese funeral procession ongoing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they were actually, I think the body was already burned, or they are burning things for this little girl. Yeah.
Right.
Like, saw them carrying like clothes of little girl, all this and that. Yeah. So they were just filming. I mean, they were just burning right beside us. Like,
was it a little girl humming? Do you think?
I'm not sure, but yeah, but I think from there maybe it's like it's not just Malay like that we will see, but probably maybe that's
Different
Chinese.
races, yeah.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Wow, Eugene, why you lead people without warning and without protection into all these scary places?
No, I get them enough stuff to get them for content already. But I think the from what I hear, did haunting history, do well by your standards? Are we looking at a potential season 2, and what's on the cards?
So we found out recently through the team that's monitoring it that we actually got double the view goals organically within like the first couple of weeks of its release. So
Congrats.
Nice. So if you guys
and we will push for a season 2 in the coming year.
Nice. To find more places to go to scare them.
Since you have the backpack, why not, right?
Pulau Ubin. Bring Atika go Pulau Ubin.
Yeah, we were thinking of going Pulau Ubin and staying overnight.
And then on the way, you leave the backpack on the bumboat. Okay?
No.
Then you will have a wonderful season 2.
Atika will wear the backpack front and back, then sleep on the side.
Way.
But if you wear backpack front and back, right? Then you sleep on the side. This side, how?
She will bring her protection.
I have my hand to whack. Like that.
Now, I want to show you some behind the scenes footage. These girls work really, really hard behind the scenes. And we all think that production is always very glamorous, right? Actually, it's not true. This is Angeline.
Yeah, at that point of time, right before I heard the drumming all this.
I gotta thank Angeline for in order to make the host look good, they got to be in odd positions and.
Look at that Singapore, no, not Singapore squad. Asian squad.
Asian squad, yeah.
I had to stand squat there for so long. Oh my god! When I stood up, I was just, my leg was shaking already.
But I think the most unglam shot ever was this one. I don't think they knew I took this video, so it's first time that they're watching this as well.
Yes, please, unglam.
Oh my god!
So that's how you protect yourself from the spirits.
There were a lot of mosquitoes in the area, so we were in a spot where this was the particular spot in Sembawang where they were dumping a lot of the idols, and when you walk inside, the feeling is very oppressive. All the deities and everything, they just chuck there. So you know when deities are being left out in the open and they're empty, usually negative energy will come in. So it was going to be dusk. Mark Rip was coming, and then the mosquitoes also came. But the show has got to go on. We had to film, and so they were just everyone's just doing this behind the scenes. But when you put in the soundtrack and everything, it sounds like ding, 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 and then as dusk fall, we are here to find out. But you know, behind the scenes without the music, that's how it looked.
I think Sembawang is the second scariest. I mean, apart from like ghosts, there are mosquitoes and
Fire ants.
Fire
Yeah,
ants.
Ah, I hate fire ants.
Oh my goodness.
But it beat us so many times that it was like on my neck also. Wow.
Yeah, it was everywhere on us.
Wow.
And I guess like Isabel was bringing around her insect repellent spray and trying to spray us all around. Yeah. So that's another protection that we have from like for the team lah. Yeah.
I just want to say something in my defense for Angeline's squad, right? I asked her to sit down. Okay, for everybody wondering, oh, why you treat your intern like this? Make her squat so long. I did not. I say, please sit down. Your legs will get tired. She was like, no, the grass so dirty, so wet.
Exactly, it's wet
rain."
grass.
Okay, a disclaimer: we did not bully our intern. Okay.
Yeah.
Really.
We shall rely. We shall rely on the photographic
But it
evidence.
was an experience, right? It was an experience.
Yeah.
You get to write it on your report, right? Very nice.
Right. We're gonna get some questions from. Yeah. So you get.
Well, the squatting was worth it because there you are now, right? Now you are a full-time squatter. Okay, now you get to sit down. Okay, next time you get to sit down.
Yeah.
It's like a director's chair, lah. You know, you can open up.
The idea next time,
Yeah. We bring for you camping chair.
Oh, just more than before.
Okay, we're at 10:33 already. We're gonna take some last few questions before we say goodbye to the VC team and go to our regular confessions tonight, where we have very unusual hantus to introduce to you.
Extremely
Yeah.
unusual.
So, any questions for the VC team before we say goodbye? We have one from Navinet. Yeah, a bit pricey to ask this question, lah, but
And
Navinet.
yet you are going to ask it.
Navinet wants to ask this: how did the team decided on Eugene among the different paranormal group or team?
Actually, you were the first person we spoke to.
First come, first serve, see?
First contact. No.
We did spoke to like a few paranormal
Yeah. We reached out to people.
groups also. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were the
I
first
guess-
one we interviewed.
Yeah, we were just looking for someone who had the same vision as us for the show, because as the title goes, haunting history, right? We need to know what's the history behind the location. I guess like right now, a lot of the paranormal scene, they do go there, they do look for the places, but not a lot actually talks about like deep down what's the history of the place. And I guess we need to know, where did all these ghosts come from? Like Old Changi Hospital, but and when we do our research, mostly in Singapore, it's all soldiers and British. Oh my god, I'm tongue twisting. Okay, like yeah, the British ones and the Japanese ones. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's very much the heart of Supernatural Confessions. We don't just want to share the confessions, but we want to understand what's going on behind it.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you found the right person. Okay, Ely X has an interesting comment to share. She says, "I thought I heard weird singing when I just logged in. Is that Eugene?" Oh, okay. Never mind. Answered her own question. Okay, let's see what other questions. Someone was asking, where exactly in Sembawang is that spot where people were dumping idols? Shanshan was asking.
Cannot tell.
Oh,
Explore
it's a
it.
secret.
Because if you explore it, then it might be on us.
Is it revealed in the episode, or is the location also a secret?
I guess if once you look at the video, it's you will know where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go watch the video.
Go and watch the video.
You don't know exactly where is the place.
Okay. So they share the secret, but they don't tell the secret.
To be fair, I cannot
Nice.
say like where exactly it is. It's near the beach,
Yeah.
but and it's in between the beach and the mosque,
Yeah.
but it's like behind the mosque.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, like-
those are your clues. Okay, go and hunt. Go
Yeah.
and hunt. Okay, and then-
Geographical stuff, not my strong suit.
and then
For
let
you
us
to figure out
know when you find out.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Any last words, guys?
If you guys have any suggestions on where we should take season 2, please let us know. We will be reading all of your comments.
Someone is
Yes.
asking Singapore Poly Red Bridge for season 2.
And also,
Singapore Poly
Hey,
Red
I'm
Bridge.
staying near there, you know.
it's okay. You have a backpack. It's okay.
I studied at Singapore Poly and I know exactly which Red Bridge you're talking about. It's the Canteen 6 across the business to
no.
IT department. There is
Okay.
and second floor
Ooh.
toilet as well.
This will be a bridge curse episode. Okay. Ooh. And then someone is asking whether there'll be an episode visiting Kent Ridge Park.
Kent Ridge Park.
Yeah. Kent Ridge Park is where I encountered the smell of Miss P on the treetop walk. It was my first encounter with the fragrance of Miss P.
Ooh.
So quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Miss P number 6.
Someone is asking how much went into the production. I don't know whether you can answer this.
How
but,
much as in cost or how much effort? How much tears? What?
I mean,
A
we
lot
know
of
how much-
sweat.
we know how much squatting
of
went into the
sweat,
production.
A
Yeah.
lot of blood, a lot of tears.
A lot of insect repellent. We finished 2 whole bottles of off spray because everywhere we went got a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So just now someone promised to tell us the lowdown on Hoppa Villa. You want to share a little bit on that before you?
How popular.
Yeah, you said Happavilla is not haunted. You wanted to share that with us.
You said you debunked it.
So we were walking around Hoppa Villa, and with Eugene, me, and Atika, we all collectively agreed that it was a very safe space. We left our guest alone, and the only thing she really witnessed was Eugene touching her hair and whispering. So, so really nothing else was there. But you can feel the air change when you are inside Hoppa Villa and outside of Hoppa Villa. That I think is the biggest thing, is that when you are inside, there's a sense of like peace and serenity. But when you are outside on the roadside, like that whole area, like we were waiting for our cabs, it was very dark. Grab took me like 10 minutes to arrive. I was sitting there, I was like, oh, I don't like this road.
Yeah. Because that whole area was very, very violently disturbed during the war.
Yeah.
A lot of you will have heard about the battle for Bukit Chandu, but the night before Bukit Chandu was the battle of Pasir Panjang village, which is exactly right next to Hauptbahnhof Villa. So that entire stretch was a major battlefield the night before Bukit Chandu. So yeah, a lot of history there. The only place where people did not die is inside Hauptbahnhof Villa.
That's probably why
I did not wear my backpack in there.
See, that is. So from now on, you have to have this sticker. Okay, the opposite of the Keras sticker is the sticker of
Backpack.
Atika without a
Ah,
backpack.
Oh, without backpack.
Without the backpack means safe.
Clear.
So if there's backpack, it means it's Keras.
Yeah,
Last
yes.
Last stop. Yeah.
It's maybe
No
one
backpack,
to,
not
from
Keras.
1 to 5 backpacks lah.
Oh, yeah.
5 backpack means front, back, left, right, and one on her head. You know.
So we are rating the Keras meter with backpacks.
Yes.
Yeah. 5 backpacks means super Keras. And I'll give that to Changi Hospital. Never want to go back there. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, ladies. We hope to see you guys again very soon. Have a great December. I know you guys been
Thanks for
working very
joining
hard,
us.
so take some time off. Go drink.
Yeah.
We can go
Great
home
to
and
meet you
sleep
guys.
now.
Oh, they love Mookata, John. So next time we should them go Mookata.
Let's go for Mukata. All right. A
The
serious
Bedok
five backpack Mukata. Okay.
Yeah. The
Thanks
Bedok
for the
one
treat,
is nice
Eugene.
and halal.
Bedok one is
Just disclaimer
the
lah, just in case.
Bedok. What's the place? The Bedok.
The Sempang Bedok.
Sempang Bedok.
The
That's right.
Kakak. Oh no, it's
okay,
called.
okay.
Is it called Kakak? Oh, Tache, yeah.
Very nice. Okay,
Yeah.
let's plan that. Let's plan that.
Okay. Bye,
Thanks
everyone.
again for joining us.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, and now we are back to you and I.
Fun. So
How was
fun.
that?
Huh? So much fun. It's nice because we seldom get the very youthful generation coming on and sharing their
Youthful
adventures.
generation.
They are the youngest guests we've had so far, other than Eugene Au, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This season, right? You know,
Mm.
are they younger than Eugene? They might be younger than Eugene.
No lah, they are. I cannot reveal their ages, but I
Okay,
think
fine.
they're
Of
older
course
than
not, of course not.
older than Eugene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to know that the curiosity and the fascination is there, you know, and it is still burning, and you know, people are brave enough to keep exploring. That's really good. Yeah, you know, it's really heartening to know that, you know.
Yeah.
So shows like Haunted History prove that we will always be fascinated with our dark history. I like that. I really like that.
Okay. Oh, Serene Tan just
Oh.
popped in a blessing.
Thank you, Serene. She says, small token for all the good Friday nights that both of you shared and all your efforts. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas in advance.
Wow,
Thank you, Serene.
谢谢你. Oh, okay. Now,
Feeling the love.
so much
Yes.
love today, guys. Okay, so now I know you guys have been waiting for confessions, and this is our episode 39 of 2023, which is our finale episode. We have some short stories for you, almost anecdotal, and then we have a few long forms.
Wow, those two are killer ones. I'm very excited.
Shall I read the
But
first the first one?
We
John?
warm up first. Yes, we can. Oh wait, okay. First, Isabel Ann. Thank you. She says, "Cheers for haunting history." Nice. That's her
Ooh.
first super chat.
Hey,
Thank you,
thank
Isabel.
you.
Yay. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the theme of these confessions. They're all very different.
Yeah.
But what was your idea?
So I have when I receive these confessions, they come from all over the place. They don't always get read on time because I will have an archive and I'll go into it. Sometimes I'll search for keywords, but this actually, John, what I didn't tell you was when I was thinking about what should I talk about for the final episode, I was actually hoping you might get the pattern, because every time on Ghost Mortem, the final episode, we always go for something weird, monsterish stuff. Remember? So I wanted to bring that culture back, where the
I
last
see.
episode of every season of Friday Night Live, we will talk about the weird kind of monsters, not your Pontiana, not your Pocong, not the Penanggal, stuff that you don't always get to hear. And these are very frankly rare stories. They're not common. So if I will to keep it and archive it, I will always have it for maybe at midterm and one at the end of the year.
Okay, I see what Eugene is getting at. For those of you who remember Ghost Mortem, okay, there was always one special episode which we call the WTF episode.
Ah,
right? Which is, it features all the films that fit no particular genre but are definitely too good to miss. Right? It wasn't the last episode lah. It was the episode before the judging. It was after the last episode, and then while we're collecting votes, right? In that filler week, we had the WTF episode, right?
Yes.
So yes, that's why today's theme is called WTF. And yes, I would agree you've chosen well, because these stories are the first thought is, ew, what?
Yeah.
You know? But then after that, they're really creepy. They're really creepy. So I'm very glad. Thank you, RY, for your donation there. Thanks for the season. Yeah, you are very welcome, Rai.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we warm up with the short ones. Okay, the short anecdotal ones. Okay, come, you start lah.
Because
You kick
this
us
one
off.
will give you a bit of the feeling to it lah. Okay,
Feeling.
so
Okay,
I'm
come,
gonna
feel
start
it.
off with this one. Okay, so the reason why I when I was doing a bit of research on all this thing, I realized when it comes to bizarre ghosts, right, the Thais probably come a close second to only the Japanese when it comes to
Huh? Who's ties?
the Thai ghost.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thailand, you know.
Thailand. Okay,
Yeah, so
sure.
we-
Yes.
We have popular ones like the Krasu, the Menak, the Nang Tani. So these are the stuff that commonly people know, but there's actually hundreds of other ghosts that people don't know. And I realized as I was doing a research, Philippines have 370 different kinds of hantu in their culture alone.
Nice.
And if you look at whole of Asia, you have the Indonesian, there's even Southeast Asia, without even going to the bigger part of Asia.
Yeah.
We love our hantu. And for most of us who are not very much into the supernatural, the mainstream audience, you tell them Pontianak, they know. But beyond the Pontianak, the long black hair and the white gown, they don't know. So I thought it'd be interesting to shine the spotlight on lesser known haunting.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. But this first one that was actually confessed to me by S, and I was with him when we were going on one of the walks, and he told me this, and I'm going to read out a short passage. This is my interpretation of what he told me, and I tried to keep it as close to what he said as possible. Okay. Confession by S. I titled this "The Skinwalker of Singapore." You mentioned cryptids in your last live exploration, Eugene. I just want to share with you my personal experience at Bukit Timah Nature Reserve as well. There's an area with 3 large granite boulders. I was hiking one night with a group of friends when I saw a spindly looking creature crouching on all fours. I was probably only a few meters from it and caught sight of it briefly from a beam of light from the torch. The best description I can give you is that it looked like Golem, the character from Lord of the Rings. It was humanoid with an alien-shaped head with arms and legs, but it moved on all fours. It then bounded off further up the boulders and into the forest. WTF was that?
Ooh, Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. Okay. Okay, before we comment, okay, quick thank you to Angeline Tan from Vitzy. Yeah, she says, "What from Nuggets by Vitzy."
Hwada!
Thank you, Angeline. And also a donation from Visualization. Oh, I like your name, Visualization. Wow. Again, his or her first super chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
come back to the Golem of Bukit Timah. Okay. Okay. What made you connected to the Skinwalker?
Okay, so I'm loading out some pictures now, right? Just to show you guys.
Okay, got illustration. Okay, none of these are the actual picture, right? These are just
No.
reference.
These are reference only. Reference only. So
okay. Don't
Don't-
get excited, everyone.
there's not photographic evidence. So he mentioned Golem, right? This is Golem, correct? We on all fours on a boulder. So I get this description, very alien-like head, and I brought this up into one of the discussion, I think a few weeks ago, and someone on the comment section said, "Hey, that sounds like the Skinwalker." So I went to Google Skinwalker, and this is how it would look like on the internet. Again, on all fours, moving around with the alien-looking head. So while Golem is fiction, so to speak, the Skinwalker has been reported to exist, at least in the Navajo area of United States. So could it be that we have our own Skinwalker? That's what I'm thinking.
I must say that it is about the most generic form that a cryptid can take. Right? Sort of skinny hairless humanoid figure. It's like an alien having a bad day, and cannot walk upright. An alien with a tummy ache. I think that because it is such a basic form, I imagine that it would be something that would not be hard to find anywhere. I think the Skinwalker in America is probably something very old and something that probably is found throughout Asia as well, because if you think about it, there must also be an evolution of sorts, right, in the cryptid world, right? So, this idea of the sort of pale gray humanoid, we've had versions that live underground, we've had versions that are, that have a link to the lizard people, it's not a distant relative from the humans, right? I don't mean relative in that sense, but yes, a distant supernatural relative from the humans, right? So it makes a lot of sense, you know. So as much as yes, it might be our version of the Skinwalker, but I like to imagine that no lah, the Skinwalker is a version of something much older from our territory, you know. But again, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I'm just curious why there's no photographic evidence. Isn't that the first thing anyone would do?
No, that he was walking,
Right.
he was hiking.
Yeah, you have your phone when you're hiking.
Correct lah, but he had maybe his pocket. So when he flashed a torchlight by accident, he saw something. He flashed a torchlight. It bounded off, so there was no time to.
That's true. What a shame.
Yeah.
Did he try to pursue it?
No, he's like, WTF was that? He's like, okay, moving on. So I said, are you sure what you saw is not like an animal or something else? So he said when the beam of torchlight went over, he saw like, it captured in his mind, in his like freeze frame in his head, what he saw, and it was shocking. And he says, if it was an animal or a monkey, then the size and the limbs just don't quite match up to it. But the face is very humanoid, very alien-like.
How big was it? Was it closer to a human size? Was it a child
Again,
size?
yeah. So I asked that same question. He says the best description is like golem. It's not a child. It's like maybe a scrawny, malnutrition adult.
Okay.
Yeah, or hunch and just yeah, like not even lumbering because it's quite agile. So
Right.
it's like a monkey man, I suppose, but no fur.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. This area with the granite boulders. Okay, I'm trying to remember like the last time I went to Bukit Timah Nature Reserve where this is. But okay, interesting. Did you ask whether it climbed or did it sort of run?
It bounded off.
Okay, right. So it was
Yeah.
it was on the ground. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Wow. The next one is
okay,
also
okay.
pretty interesting. I kept that for you.
Okay, this one is a confession from Z.
Wait, give me a minute. I got so many things open on my screen now. I'm losing stuff. Okay, this one. Okay.
You wanted stories from Ubi and Eugene. I've got one for you.
Wait. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Hold on.
I-
I need to change this. Okay, and here we
Okay,
go.
tell me when I'm there. You wanted stories from Ubi and Eugene? I got one for you. It's a bit short and not as exciting as the confessions you have on your show. I was fishing near the Maman campsite with two other friends. We placed our fishing rods some distance apart at intervals and sat at our field bench to drink. If any of the rods catch something, the bell will chime and alert us. One of the rods sounded, and we turned to look. There we saw a human-shaped creature with its back towards us, tugging on one of the rods. From where we were, it looked like the person was bent over looking down. But when we flashed our torch at it, it turned around to look at us, startled, and it shocked the bejesus out of us too. When the creature turned, we saw that it had no head. It was stark naked, but what was shocking was that its face was on the body. Two eyes, a nose, and a mouth, but on the torso instead of a head. It then ran off, and no way we were giving chase. All of us just stood there and went, "What the fuck was that?" And then we continued fishing till morning.
I love the last part.
Clearly, our fishermen are very serious. Yeah, it's like, terrifying thing. Okay, come fish.
Continue.
But it was trying to help them catch fish, lah. So, alright. Okay, so two possibilities, right? One, was it trying to like steal the rod or something, right? Or was it trying to catch their attention?
From
Right.
their description, it wasn't trying to catch their attention. I think it's like
Well, if it ran away after that, then obviously it didn't really want their attention.
I think
lah,
it was
right?
more curious than anything. Like what was this? Like
what is this?
Mm.
Interesting. I'm surprised that I'm surprised it didn't come back like later in the night. it sounds like one of those first encounter, right? Then as you stay there, it will slowly get nearer and nearer.
You think like the
Then-
movie? Is it like E.T.?
Yeah, then soon it will eat from your hand.
You've
You
been
like
watching
Snow
too many
White.
movies already.
You'll be like Snow White feeding the birds, right? Come on, they all want companionship, right?
But
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
I found that the face on the torso thing is actually quite spooky. It's
No, it is. So I like his description of how it looked the first time they saw it. It looked like someone whose head was bent down. So they didn't see a head, right? They saw a back and then they thought the head was bent down. But then when it turned around, you realize, oh, there is no head, right? And the eyes are there, and and I don't know whether those were like normal sized eyes, nose, mouth, or were they like slightly larger? Because the torso very big,
it
right?
was at a distance. So again, this is my assumption, guys. If it was a
Yeah.
small face, I don't think
He wouldn't see it.
Yeah, but
Right.
to me, what made this story compelling and why I shared this is if it was just a single fisherman turning around to see something and the thing just ran off.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to discount it and go like, maybe you're tired, maybe you see something, maybe it was an animal. Could be many what ifs. But this is a bunch of them who was fishing together, all turned to look and all saw it. And then they were, there's a bit of validation there, verification.
So there's a very thin line between cryptid sighting and haunting. If only one of them had seen it and the rest didn't, that would be a ghost. Right? But because they all saw it, it's a strange creature.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, this dotted line, right?
But I think it can't be that scary because of the fact that we continue fishing. It can't be that scary.
I mean, it certainly seemed more afraid of them than they are of it. So I guess, and I wonder whether, okay, so I'm just very obsessed with the size of the eyes, and I really want to know, okay, did it have nipples, and were the eyes larger than the nipples? Because if the eyes are the same size, then won't it look like it has 4 eyes, right? And where were they on the torso? Are they like up here on the solar plexus, or were they like in the middle of the tummy? Like where was the mouth versus the navel?
Okay, John, I'm not sure if you have looked at yourself in the mirror, because I have looked at myself in the mirror, and at some low light angle, I can actually see 2 eyes where my pecs are, my saggy pecs are, where my nipples are, and my tummy hangs. It looks like a smiley face, or maybe my tummy is like looking like it's whistling, like whenever the belly button.
Right. So
Yeah,
you're
so-
saying that could actually be just a normal torso or slightly abnormal torso.
Or they could have seen a headless person with a
Yes,
dead board.
'cause- Yeah, right. Okay, so it's either strange creature with face on torso or a headless person who's not been to the gym.
See, now we help you clarify it.
Actually, that was my first thought as well, which was, maybe all along, all these headless things have been not headless, but no need head.
no need hit. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? No need head, right? Anti-head creatures, right? So hard to say, right? Is this thing that they saw a unique thing, or is there a whole sort of community of them somewhere in there, and that's who we've been seeing? Because when he puts on clothes, he's gonna look like a headless.
Headless.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Good point, John. GF
Right.
GF00 had left us a comment. It says, there's something similar in the park Eugene visited in Thailand. There's one depicting punishment in hell. Yes, GF00. I remember that one. One of the Thai punishment, it's like a Hapa Villa in Thailand.
The hell park, right?
The hell park,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
There is a statue where there's no head and there's a face on the body. So
I believe that there is also something in early Asian, maybe Chinese culture, right? Early Chinese culture that has sort of a large face, and also there are certain yokai that have that look also, right? So it's not a utterly unknown sort of combination of features. But I guess it's interesting because they thought it was a person, or they were sure it was humanoid. So most of those other funny shaped ones, like the yokai and all that, tended to be weirdly shaped lah. They were like squarish or roundish or something. This one was so absolutely human. It just looks like the face sank onto the body, right? So very interesting. Wow. Okay.
Okay, your next one.
I want more details. I totally want more details. Like I want a diagram. Okay, Z, if you are listening, draw me a diagram of where the eyes, nose, and mouth were in relation to all the other body parts.
So I told Z I'll be reading out his story today. He says I was fishing, but he'll try to tune in. He's probably listening to us somewhere now. Okay.
Okay.
Next
come,
one.
You do the next one.
Next one is my old favorite haunt, Old Changi Hospital. And this one is
Nice.
titled Sphinx of Old Changi Hospital. My friends and I used to go to Changi Hospital to explore during the 2000s. On one of those exploration outings, we saw a creature that looks exactly like the Sphinx cat, furless and wrinkly. At that time, we didn't know what we were looking at was a spirit. My friend even commented, "So cute!" I replied, "Damn ugly lor." But we all decided to take a picture anyway. So we all took out our digital cameras to snap. The cat looked at us and then literally in front of our eyes, it faded away. Without even exchanging a word, we all ran out of the place. When we checked our camera footage, there was nothing in that shot. Yet, all three of us saw it. What the fuck was that?
This is interesting because just the last Saturday we were on the walk with Hantu Changi, and as we approached the gates of Changi Hospital, one of our participants insisted that he saw a cat walking away. It was sitting there looking at us, and then it walked away into the shadows, and now nobody else saw it.
Oh my.
Nobody else saw it. I kept asking, "Are you sure where?" And I was teasing him about it all night, but maybe that was the cat. Ooh, maybe there is a special cat at Old Changi Hospital.
So now we give it a name. It's called a Sphinx cat.
Sphinx cat. Okay, which can be quite creepy if you see them suddenly in the middle of the night perched on your chest or something.
Right.
They are like a mini golem.
Furless and wrinkly.
Yeah, they are mini because a lot of what makes cats adorable is the fur that makes them sort of cuddly, right? And when you take the fur away, it's, oh dear, it's a whole other thing. It's like more like a bat than a cat. Even a bat has fur. So yeah, it's really quite compelling. Was it a normal size thing?
They say it looks like a cat, so I assume it's a cat size.
They all thought it was a cat. Yeah. I wasted again. It was 2000. So again, no phone.
They got their digital cameras. They took photo.
Yeah lah. By the time you open the shutter, of course the cat ran away already lah. Yeah lah.
No, okay. So from what I understood, right, is they took photo of the cat, as in the cat was still there as they took the photo.
Oh yeah, they snapped, right? Yes, they did snap.
Because they said, "Oh, so cute, so cute." Then they snapped. Ooh, chick. Then the cat just faded in front of their eyes. Then they WTF. Then they went to check. Then they couldn't see anything inside.
And this was something they all saw. So, okay.
And to be fair, they didn't even think it was the hantu. They all thought it was a cat. Right? One even commented, "So cute." The other one said it's so ugly, lor.
Correct.
So there was nothing in their psyche at that point in time. Then when they saw that looked like a spirit, or it was like translucent, or it looked anything odd or out of the ordinary, it just looked like a Sphinx cat.
Yeah. I like the disappearing thing. It's like, yeah. And I mean, a cat is not an unusual form, for an Asian entity to take, right? So could be something that was shape shifting.
In fact,
for
John,
example.
do you remember one of the old videos that JDC had sent us last time? This was, I think, 2 years ago. It was a CCTV footage sent in by a security guard who claimed that the place was haunted and everything. And on the CCTV footage, there was a cat that walked and faced out on CCTV.
Ooh.
So we tried to debunk it in every way. So was CCTV? It's what are we catching? Was it a lag? That? So, but regardless of the science behind it and technicality behind it, seeing a cat facing out on video was kind of cool. So when I heard this confession, that was the first thing I was brought to, that particular video.
So it's an astral traveling cat lah.
That video is on our Supernatural Confessions YouTube. Is 2 years ago. I'll try to find the link and post it to you guys.
Oh look, a cat just phased in.
Oh,
Haunted cat. Okay, this one got fur, so it's alright. Safe. You're safe.
Alright.
Okay. Wow. Okay, like nice collection so far. We got headless torsos, we got phasing cats, and we got Bukit Timah golems. Okay.
Alright. This one is the next one, John. You'll be reading.
I really like this one.
It's called Earth, Wind, and Fire. John, take it away.
When I think of elementals, to me, those are Western concepts. But I think I might have actually seen one in Singapore. Maybe there's a reason why NParks restricts visitors from going into the parks after 7 p.m. because they have something to hide. Anyway, I went into one lah. I'd rather not say where it is, but it was around midnight. My girlfriend and I went in to have a night hike. On one of the old remaining kampong structures, we saw a ball of fire the size of a small watermelon flying around, hovering, and then zipping here and there. When my girlfriend excitedly pointed the ball of fire out to me, what I had initially thought was debris from the old kampong structure started moving. The only light source we had was from the torch function of our phones. And from what we could see, it looked like the broken stone wall literally stood up and walked away. The ball of fire was flying slightly above its right shoulder. My girlfriend mouthed the words, "What the fuck?" And we immediately got the hell out of there.
Huh? Sure.
Two for the price of one. Okay, I like this.
Ah.
So you saw a flying flame, right? Sort of a, I don't know, a will o' the wisp kind of thing, right? Which is very, very unusual in Singapore, I must say. Size of a watermelon, some more. Okay, I don't know, I don't know how small the watermelons you buy are, but that's
I'll see like that.
where it got so small.
Now this
One
watermelon
hand-
not big, you know. The one I see at by Sheng Siong Amor is like
Okay lah.
B cup at most lah.
Watermelon for one. Okay.
Mm.
So it was zipping around, and then after that, it accompanied this thing. So they were at a kampong structure, right? An old fallen kampong structure, and then the actual wall just walked away. I love it. Okay, to me, this is totally like yokai territory. Okay, this is a scene out of like one of my childhood yokai series. There is a Japanese yokai that
Uh-huh.
is a haunted wall.
Oh, really?
Right? There is a wall.
I'm
right?
sure lah. There's a lot of
Yeah,
Japanese one lah.
It's called the Nurikabe,
Uh-huh.
right? Nurikabe, and it literally so its normal form is invisible,
Mm.
right? But when it wants to be mischievous, it will
Uh-huh.
appear, and
Uh.
its form is a wall, a stone wall with a face, right? And apparently, it can be whatever size is needed. All it wants to do is block your path.
That's it.
So you come upon it, and it will block your way, and then you have no choice but to go back. So it's a it's a very irritating ghost. But yeah, so I don't know whether we one of those Nurikabe made their way to Singapore, okay, and why it's hiding in the jungle. I don't know. I want to know what park this is. Okay, there are a few parks in Singapore where if you go off the tracks, you will find some of the remains of old kampongs.
I know of one.
Yeah, there are quite a few. They pop up every now and then, but half the time they pop up in the news because people have accidents there. Right, just last year, a lady died because a wall similar to this fell on her. Right, she was just posing with her friend to take photos, and then the wall fell. And no, she was posing, and the wall fell on her friend. Right, so so please be careful, guys. If you are interested and you want to go and look for moving walls, okay, you might find a moving wall that you don't welcome, right? So please be very cautious. If the place is marked as unsafe, then better not lah, right?
I like the line where it says, "NParks say you cannot go in after 7." I think they got something to hide.
I mean, if you're talking about these kinds of parks, right? The ones we are referring to, the ones with enough jungle area to hide a forgotten kampong, then it's the obvious reason lah. It is too dark to be safe, right? You know, I mean, like, so you think about it, right? Most parks that are open after 7,
Yeah.
right, are lit, right, are not wild, right? So the only reason this place would be dark is simply because they cannot vouch for your safety, lah. You know, not necessarily because there's hantu, but because you will become hantu if you go there, right? So do be careful. You want to explore in the daytime, and if you want to explore, also please be very cautious because there's these structures are not stable, right?
Yeah.
So don't climb them, don't play a fool with them, play from a distance, and then if it moves, please take photo, right? I don't know how long ago this happened, but again, why never take out phone? How fast can a wall move?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's time, right? If you're quick on the draw, boom, you know, and the
No,
orb
no,
had
no. They
already
said the only light source we had was from the torch function of our phones. Their phone was out. They had
then
their
even
phone in
worse.
their hands.
Switch immediately to video with flash. You know, is it something about the shock of the encounter that makes people sort of paralyzes your thumb? It makes you unable. I always thought that now that we are in the world of iPhones, we are no longer having to deal with all these fuzzy, easily debunked photos kind of thing, right? Come on.
Okay, so
All of human technology, is working towards putting the ultimate entity catching device in your hand, and yet somehow it's never there.
I'm going to go on a defense for most people.
Defend.
For me, right, Eugene Tay, I have trained myself to overcome fear by turning fear into excitement when I see spirits, and that was by design. If you read my book, I was fearful, I was hopeless, I couldn't react. I shut down when I'm in fear mode. And I think one of the most memorable moments were the footsteps that appeared on the floor. I remember I told you this famous story where I challenged the spirit to appear, and the footsteps appear on the floor. And I remember that particular moment when the footsteps appeared, I was paralyzed by shock and fear, and my head was trying to find reasons. I was not in a let's take a photo mode. I was in a how do I explain this to myself mode. Eventually, I took out my phone and I filmed. That was after the fact. Right. But in that moment when I saw the footsteps appearing, there's too much going ahead.
Right.
But now, because I'm doing supernatural confessions, I'm always trying to gather evidence. When I see a ghost, I stare at it attentively to make sure that it's not a cutter, not a bat, not an animal, so I can debunk everything. So I do it all here. But even now, I'm going through that process of debunking first, and taking out my phone was actually a train move because I need to take that. So most people who have not gone through what I had would be at the stage where I was seeing footsteps appear on the powder. Taking out my phone was not my first thought. It was, what the fuck, right? So I think this could be where the fishermen were. This could be where, our guy with the handphone and the torch looking at the things moving, because your brain just cannot switch mode into being rational at that point in time already.
Okay, so I propose to the SC community, right? Anyone out there who is an investor to be, all right, and wants to become rich in technology, right? Let's come together and let's develop an app that is linked to your heart rate, to your BPM, and in moments of shock and fear, once it detects that spike, it switches the fucking camera on. And just video straight away, just video with flash, no questions asked, later can delete. Why does this not exist, right? If it's true, then that our reflex is the thing that prevents us from using the technology, then use the technology to overcome that reflex, right? Or rather, to use the reflex to trigger it.
Okay.
Right? It's like okay, so like my favorite invention of like the past 10 years, right, is I think some Swedish inventors have come up with this motorcycle helmet, right, that self-activates, right? So you wear it like a sort of like a thing around your neck, like my neck fan like that, right? Okay, right? And the moment you hit a bump and they sense that your body's velocity is suddenly changing drastically, it turns into a helmet. It just envelopes your head, right? So we
this
need
is so
that.
Iron Man.
Yes, exactly right. It is exactly, I think, using that rationale. So we need the same thing with with the camera app, right? With a camera app that's tied to whatever's happening. This could also be very useful in many ways because it could save lives,
Yeah.
right? It could save lives. It could give us very useful evidence for things that happen, right? For violent accidents, etc., right? So
No, but it should not be
think about it.
connected to your phone, because if your phone is in your back pocket, all you're gonna get is a video of black. It should be, those Google glasses where you got camera here, right? So your camera is
Yeah.
off, on most
Sure.
days, because you're gonna keep it running. But
Yes.
when it matches your heart rate, there's fear or something, this thing goes on.
Maybe attached to a GoPro or something like that, right? Attached to it triggers a GoPro or something, right? It would be wonderful for investigators, for people like that as well. I think that split-second delay, so many things are lost, right?
Yeah.
Hantu are lost, rare species of animals are lost, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So think about it, all you tech specialists out there, okay? Get in touch. Let's develop this, man.
Sure.
Wow. Okay.
John, before we
Wow.
go on to the rest of the two other confessions and dissect them, why don't we go to the chat comment section and see what people have left message for us?
Let's see. So Mashipo, very good. The heart rate camera will be triggered non-stop in Geylang.
Your wife be like, darling, why are you taking all these photos? Not me. It's the app. Jonathan's
It's my
fault.
heart. It's my heart. It's my heart. Hold on. Oops, everything's running weird. Okay. Jill Chong is saying it's more like have to react rather than think. Okay, I see something, I must take out phone and set to video, but this time
Yeah.
already too late. Yeah,
Correct,
it is
correct.
what. So I guess it's a trained response thing, lah.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay. Sequest bot is asking, or Sequest bot, is it Sequest bot? No, Sequest BCD. Has anyone climbed the old trail at Bukit Timah on the way to the summit where there's a rock face now closed?
There are too many stairs. I saw the stairs. I was like, okay. I was there with Paris. We both look at the stairs and we go like, never mind. We skip this.
Hantu cardio. Yeah. Okay, Rory Evan Tan is asking, can a spirit being hantu sense heat? I saw a YouTube channel where someone boiled a pot of hot water and poured it over where a disembodied voice came out. Ayo. Oh dear. Okay. That's kind of rude to the hantu. Okay. Can a hantu sense heat?
Okay, so maybe I got an answer for this one. Yeah.
Okay, come. What's your theory?
If we believe that hantu are energy and everything in the spirit world is energy, heat is also a form of energy. So it may sense that there is something there.
No, but okay.
But whether you get hurt by the boiling water or not, maybe not lah. Because it's physical form.
Okay, there's a difference between sense heat and feel heat. Okay, so we can all feel heat. When you pour the boiling water on me, I will feel it, but I will not sense it until you bring it really close to me, because I'm not a thermal. I'm not a thermal device.
That's true.
Right. So do you mean sense heat? Like how Alien and Predator, they can night vision and then, or do you mean can they feel heat? Right. Hard to say, because feeling heat is also it assumes that they are part of the same set of physics that we are subscribing to, right? If you pour hot water on a ghost, if the ghost feels it, then it's not so much of a ghost already. What?
Yeah. So my answer to that, the MSA official answer to that is no. The ghost cannot feel or sense the heat. No, can sense. You mean can sense, right? But cannot feel.
Well, the question here is sense lah. So okay,
what says you, John? Can sense or not?
I think we need to carry out research. We need a MSA R&D development, R&D department. Okay, that will do these experiments. Okay,
Spoken like a true politician, man.
Into the heart rate monitor, into whether hantu can feel heat. Thank you, Jacqueline, for your donation. She says you are amazing. Thank you, Jacqueline. You're amazing too.
Okay, what else, John?
Shah Horizon. I love my phone. It is too expensive to catch a picture of spirits. Yeah. More and more expensive, but still cannot do the most important thing. NParks should relinquish control of these areas to the Ministry of the Supernatural.
Yes, I agree. I second that. I second that totally. I'll send an MPAX letter tomorrow. I talk to my during my
Sure.
meet MP session. I will go there and sir, from one MP to another MP, let me ask for this.
Wow. Eh? Someone is guessing that it's Labrador Park. I don't know. Hard to guess lah. There's not many. Yeah. Camellia. Yay. Okay. Camellia 701 is asking, is Nurikabe from Gege no Kitaro? Gege no Kitaro is one of my favorite TV shows. I watched it when I was a child. It was wonderful. It is a family series, a kid series from Japan about yokai. And yes, one of his sidekicks is the Nurikabe. So fun. Okay. Wow. Okay. Scanning. Oh, thank you, Sky E, for your donation from Malaysia for John's kitty. Yay! That kitty, you're making money. No, lah. Okay, kitty asleep already. So kitty says thank you. Let's see what else. Scanning.
Oh, this one is another one for Roroy Even Tan. Can a spirit being Punti, ghost, or Hanau? Can a spirit being Ponti, ghost, or Hantu? Floating beings have the power to read the human thoughts word for word verbatim. A very interesting question to be answered. What do you guys think? Sean Chen says no. I believe, and I think I've spoken about this before many times on the show as well. I said how the spirit will communicate with us is through psychic. They read intentions, but to read thoughts, that's a discussion to be had, because old people believe, say, if you have not done anything bad, you have no evil intention, then you have nothing to worry about. So based on that, we make the assumption that spirits read your thoughts, which is why you don't. But then again, if you can read thoughts, like say if I'm going to call John in the forest, and we always say, don't call by the full name, Jonathan Lim or John, call by nickname. But I will look at John and I will know it's John in my head. If the spirits can read thought, then the spirit will know, you call him Immortal, but actually you thought about his name is John. So
okay, so the name calling thing is, I think, not a psychic thing lah. Because I mean, even if the spirit could read my mind, I'm not going around the jungle calling myself John. I'm not reciting my name in my mind. So reading my mind will not give you my name. It will not even give you my IC number, right? I think that that the entities that call you by name know you through some other cosmic database, right?
the Akashic records.
Well, I mean, look, when you go to the temple and you pray, do you give your IC number to make sure that the prayer is received from the right person and the wishes go to the right person? No, right? You assume that the deities you're praying to have access to the database.
Yeah.
Right? Similarly, certain beings, certain entities out there might be high enough up the security clearance, right, to know your name, right? In fact, that is the reason I believe that they are only able to call you by your full and official name, because your nickname or that is part of your life. It is personal. It is not something that the cosmic database contains.
Okay, so then
right?
From what you are saying, then what I'm getting is they cannot read your mind.
Well, let's put it this way: we can't read anyone's mind. Some people maybe think they can. Some people have a certain ability in that direction. Other people have an instinct, right? And most of us just cannot.
So
I think that the same variety exists in the huge supernatural world. I don't think there's a rule that says once you are an entity, you can read minds. No,
okay.
I'm sure. Like if you just think about the law, right, that's available to us, right? Never mind about what's real and what's not. Vampires are supposed to read our minds, but werewolves don't. So half of Twilight knows what you're thinking.
Okay, alamak, Twilight is not the canon for vampire law lah.
Sorry, uncle. It is now.
No,
It
I
is now. Okay.
refuse.
Go and talk to anyone below the age of 20. Ask them Dracula. They don't know what they're talking about.
Under age of
Okay.
20, I don't even think they
It-
know the sparklers.
See, wow, outdated already.
They don't even
See?
know. They probably tell you, what daylight lah. What's the new shows on Netflix? Yeah.
See,
Even
so the law is changing.
Yeah.
The law is changing. Okay, but I think that being able to read minds is just a very specific thing, right? And you'll be surprised. Maybe the golem one, the golem looking thing could read minds, and the one with no head couldn't, right? It would be as diverse as that because they're all different, right? And there's such a huge hierarchy of them, right? Can jinn maybe read your mind, or maybe some jinn can. Maybe the jinn that trained can, and the jinns who don't, right? So yeah, I think it's we have to remember that it's a way more diverse world than even the human world, because there are so many freaking species there, right? Can orang bunyan read your mind? Who knows, right? So yeah, hard to say, right?
So,
But I would say some of them can. That's my point. Some of them can, and the problem is you don't know, right? So be careful. Be careful of your intentions.
So, ladies, if you are listening in, all the ladies of Supernatural Confessions, sometimes you think that we men can read your mind. No, we cannot. Even most hantu cannot. So, if you want us to do something, you better tell us straight up. Don't make us guess. Maybe if we are jinns, maybe can, but most of us cannot. Okay. Any others interesting comments to read?
No. The rest, a lot interesting, but no, nothing that we need to answer. Thank you, Chua Elaine, for your donation. Oh, what to all, she says. Okay, hello, thank you, Elaine from Malaysia.
Okay. Wow. Okay. It's 11:30. We got 1 hour left on the clock. There's no featured confession today. Reason for that is we are ending late, and I don't want to put the featured confession at 12:45. Most of you will be asleep by then, but I'll put it up tomorrow. This will be part 2 of Iliak's confession about her colonial house.
Nice.
Right, and I feel this was a very good ending to her part 2 of the confession. There are other confessions as well. I was at Eli's house from morning till night. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I will put up some maybe next year. Maybe it might even be for the 6th of Jan live show. And of course, our beloved patrons, you will receive these videos in your Patreon dashboard over this weekend.
Nice.
Okay. Ready?
Okay, come. Right now, the big 2. Wow. Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
Carlos Cole, not 3 hours more. 3 hours from now, is it?
Already, the episode is lasting from November into December. Okay.
Yeah.
How much longer you want? Okay,
But thank you all so much for wanting us to extend the show, which only tells me that you enjoy it and not like, okay, can you guys like shut it already? I think that's very encouraging. So thank you all.
Okay, wait. I love this. I love this comment from Daphne. Talking about entities reading minds. They can't read, but can pretend that they do. Deceitful.
Yes. That
I like
believe.
that. Yes. I think that's a strategy that many of them will use, especially when they are trying to manipulate you, right? Into making a deal or making a promise. Absolutely so. Thank you for that.
There's one comment by Ines I thought was interesting. I can't find it now. Ines.
How long ago was that? Okay.
Don't know. There's a lot of messages that came in.
Okay, cannot find.
Ines, if you have put in a comment that we have not replied and you think it's a question, because she posted a question, I think. Just
Okay,
put it
Ines, please repeat your question.
Yeah, she was there.
Please repeat your question because Eugene wants to answer it. Okay. Okay, now I think it is cool to end the season with a super long episode because it's kind of like I cannot bear to end.
Yeah, right.
Okay lah. I mean, we won't be away for long. Right? It's just everyone go on holiday, then when you come back, it's the live show already.
Yeah.
So not too bad. Not too bad.
Speaking of live show, if you guys have not hit the live show subscription or registration, please do so today. It is the last day for your reserve list 10%. Tomorrow onwards is all full price already. Yeah, that's $48. So you can save a bit here and there. You can buy drinks later. You can buy drinks for us. Okay.
And please you take this advantage to chill your friends to come along, right? So you don't have to be a member, you don't have to be a regular. If you've never seen us before, please pop in anyway. It's a great way to get to know the community. Some of you, I mean, I'm really looking forward to meeting some of the folks who are not in the chat on Fridays. Right.
Ah.
So so I really hope that they're getting the message, because we keep selling it very hard on Fridays. But those who, for those of you who watch afterwards, right, and all that, right, don't miss out as well. Okay, we would love to meet all of you.
Okay, I found the message already. Thanks to Grace for sending me the screenshot.
Ah.
Ines Sharon says, there's a saying that the hantu likes water, fire, and anything dark and smelly. So I think they can sense heat.
Hantu, what? Like again? Say again.
Hantu likes water,
Mm-hmm.
fire, and anything dark and smelly. So I think they can sense heat. This is in response to what we talked about just now with regards to can hantu sense heat.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure if all hantu like water and fire, especially since those are such fundamental opposites. Right. It would be it sounds odd. I would imagine they like water a lot, especially the Chinese ones, because water is so much more yin and it suits their nature. I don't think they will like fire, because it is the opposite of that. It is yang, right? And in fact, the reason we use fire in a lot of our rituals is because that's one of the ways to intimidate, right?
Again, I don't think they like fire, the fire per se. I think they like, because when you use the fire, we burn something and that the smoke transfers the...
that's not fire, that's smoke. And that's only when it's an offering, so it's not the same, right? Because when you many rituals also involve burning things that will harm them, right? Basically that one is just the postage to send the thing across to the other realm, right? So hard to say whether it's something they like or dislike, but I definitely know that they're drawn to water. I would imagine. So I don't know, tricky. But once again, right? Thanks for sharing, Ines. I do think that we have to remember when we say hantu, we mean so many things, right? I bet you they all have their pet peeves and their favorite things, so very different. Some of them like to, catch fish at the beach and others don't, So I think the diversity is something that we are still coming to grips with.
She just texted,
right?
There's a fire ghost.
Oh yes, absolutely right. I mean, I would imagine, for example, that the jinn that were made from fire would be very drawn to fire and probably hate getting wet, right? So but equally there are entirely other spirits who dwell in water, who are obsessed with water, So I think again, that whole range is there, As much as there are weird human beings, there must be weird hantus.
Brenda Chia says fire sanctifies. So many. There are so many. I mean, clearly from today's confessions, you see so many different kinds of
correct.
entities.
I think today is very much like the Benetton ad of SC. We're just sort of seeing the huge diversity, right? Where you even move from hantu into cryptid, in that blurry area, because if it can be seen by multiple people, yet it can also vanish in front of your eyes. So what is that? Is that a spirit? Is that a creature? What is it, right? So tonight's entities defy categorization, but I think it just shows us how diverse the world is. So very exciting, very exciting.
Rory Evan Tan, last episode, should try to answer this question. Can spirit beings, hantu, read the human thought word for word, verbatim? Do they have the power? Hey, Roy, we were talking about this.
I think he fell asleep
for the last 10 minutes.
Yes, we were just talking about it, right?
And in summary,
some may be able to do that. I don't know if they can read word for word, because I don't know if they necessarily understand us, right? Not all hantu even speak the way we speak.
So
right? Some hantu are older than that, right? So, but yes, I'm sure there are some that can read our minds, but I don't think it's a standard skill, right? Yes, Eugene.
My answer to Roy, this is I mean, John shared that some can, some cannot. I am for the belief that they cannot read your thoughts word for word, verbatim. If you have an intention, it carries the energy across, but still, it's not reading it word for word. That's my belief.
Thank you, Ernest Doe, for your donation.
And Vicky as well. Vicky
Ernest
also.
Doe, Ernest Doe, very practical. Ernest Doe says, if they put the thought in your mind, then they know what's in it.
That's when they influence you, lah, right? So sometimes
Correct.
you hear, you think that's your idea, your instincts or your sixth sense, or you hear that voice of God. That could be them.
But you've already been manipulated. Yep, absolutely, right? And thank you, Vicky, for your donation as well. Yay. Okay, come. Some people are asking where the keras. Come.
Okay.
Come, let's get to the keras, okay?
Okay, this one.
Come.
I
Background.
after I heard of this confession, I went to Google it, and because it's I've heard of a Japanese version of this hantu, but I wanted to find if there's any from Southeast Asia in Malayan state. I cannot find anything close or have been talked about in stories or reports coming from Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore side. So this is probably the first confession that you guys are hearing coming out of this side of the world that talks about this particular entity.
Nice.
Title, Hantu Leher Panjang. Confession by Simon L. With regards to your latest exploration live stream video that you recorded at Bukit Timah dated 22nd November 2023 on your YouTube channel, I read in the comment section that an audience member had spotted a long-necked entity at the location by the empty storage facility with overgrown foliage. That triggered some of my own memories of my time growing up in Hillview Estate near the dairy farm. Youngsters these days only know Bukit Timah as a nature reserve, but during the pre-war era, the entire area was an industrial estate and mainly plantations. Back then, you could climb the hill and have a clear view of the land without any obstruction. The forest came later after government reforestation efforts. When I was a young boy growing up in the 60s, 70s, I remember there were wells, old abandoned houses, large pipelines, and railroads that we used to play at. Many of them lie buried under the forest, or at least hidden from view. In reference to what one of the co-hosts had mentioned about the were tigers, there could be some truth in that. Those were stories told to me too by my father, and according to local legends, if my memory serves me well, was that the killings were too methodical for it to be a wild animal. There were rumors that these deaths were actually ritual killing. It was always just one death a day. Someone who managed to escape a tiger attack claimed that the beast he saw could walk on 2 legs and only bounded off on 4 when shot at. There were many stories I heard growing up, but the one that's relevant and incited me to reach out to you is the Hantu Leher Panjang. In Malay, leher is neck, panjang is long. I personally came across this creature with my own eyes when I was about 10 years old. We were playing hide and seek around an old abandoned kampong, I recall. It was around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. The sky was still relatively bright but cloudy. It's not yet near Maghrib timing, if you were wondering. Maghrib is the Muslim prayer time that takes place at dusk and is believed that spirits come out during that time. I spotted what seemed like the back of my friend's head around one of the building structure. I could see hair from what looks like part of a head from behind the wall. Not wanting to alert my friend of my approach, I made a flanking maneuver round a tree to creep up on him from the side where I got a better vantage point. To my surprise, what I saw was a human head, oversized face, overextended jaw, and large eyes, just big everything. The size of the head was easily the entirety of my 10-year-old frame from head to toe. I took a double, triple take. Fear was not my immediate reaction. I was curious. My first thought was that my friend had taken a discarded box and made a costume out of it. But as I approached, a sense of dread overcame me. Just a sudden chill and fear that set in. Still, my curiosity probably outweighed fear at that young age. I leapt out from behind the tree, and the head swung to look at me and then rise upwards slowly towards the trees. That's when I saw that the head was attached to a very long neck that curled from round the corner of the adjacent wall. And it was attached to a tall, lanky human body. I don't remember it having any clothes on. Its skin was wrinkled in a pinkish greyish tone. When it stood up, it was taller than the house itself, with the neck extending further upwards, where the head is now at the height where the tree branches are. It then ran off into the forested area and vanished right before my eyes. I screamed. My friends came to find me, and I told them what I had seen. But we found no signs of broken branches or any evidence of prints or a giant creature standing where I had seen that thing. It was huge, lanky, but huge. Even my 10-year-old brain could rationalize that creatures that huge could not just disappear in thin air. When we got back, all of us got a good thrashing for playing in that area. Apparently, that place is out of bounds because, according to the older generation, that place is home to otherworldly entities, and children have gone missing there. Whether it's just a cautionary tale or not, what I saw convinced me that those rumors were true. I had forgotten about the incident up until I saw your video, and then the memories came flooding back, as clear as it happened just yesterday. Instances like that are not something you forget easily.
Wow, I tell you, that is a scene I would love to be part of. Okay, I would love to be 10-year-old and seeing that thing, because it would be like that scene in Jurassic Park where they got out of the rover and then they saw the long neck dinosaurs for the first time. And you're like, it's real. I would be standing there like crying one tear. And it's like, and then later I'll scream lah. But wow, I tell you, it's the description. Thank you for the amazing description, right? As well, it's majestic almost. Yes, it's creepy. It's gross as hell, but it's also almost majestic, right? It's like seeing a new species. It's like you're going swimming and then you see the sunfish for the first time. That huge ass fish, right? Yeah. So, I'm torn between fear and absolute fascination. This creature. I mean, okay, so the obvious equivalent for Asians, I guess, would be the Japanese rokurokubi, which is the one often shown as a lady in a kimono, and then her neck is like super long, right? And you see her in some Japanese shows as well, very popular. But I've read that the rokurokubi actually may be influenced. This is something we can be proud of. May be influenced from Southeast Asia. Because it came up as a yokai. It was kept. It was described much later in Japanese history, at a time where there had already been a lot of trade with Asia, right? And and they suspect that it's quite likely that it is the many flying head entities that we have that gave them the idea to create this thing, right? So is it possible that it is the Penanggal? Our dear friend, the Penanggal, or the Manananggal or the Krasue from Thailand, right? Because what they realize is that along with the Rokurokubi, she has a sister, and the sister actually doesn't have a neck, but has a string connecting the head to the body, right? So it's a lot less visible, right? It's just a string. So commonly you will just see it as a flying head, right? But it's actually attached to the body by a string, right? So I wonder whether it could be that the flying head traditions from the rest of Asia became a string head, and then later on became a neck, right? There's an evolution there, right? Yeah, so it could be quite possible, that it began from nearer to home, So I've always been fascinated by that, But wow, how did a Japanese Rokurokubi end up in Singapore? You know, wow. I mean, is there not a Buddhist hell sort of image that is also about a long neck?
Let me go and I'm going to search for
I
that.
believe it's something to do with part of how they are starved in hell, right? That they cannot digest the food because it's so long. So I don't know whether there's also a sort of a Buddhist analogy linked to this long neck spirit. That would also make sense, right? For the Japanese to create a yokai out of it, right?
I know there's one not that's I think quite close to is a Thai. They have a long neck ghost, not the Buddha. Okay, I guess Thai Buddhism.
Is that the hanging one?
No,
Is that the one?
It has a long neck.
Ah.
But what was iconic about it is its mouth is a needle. It's very thin.
Okay.
But it has a long neck, thin mouth, and it's always starving in hell.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That is the official sort of official uniform of the Hungry Ghost in the earliest script descriptions, right? You know that a Hungry Ghost is described like this, right? So that you cannot consume and you cannot enjoy the food. You know, that also triggers a memory in me now of another long neck. Oh no, it's gone. Okay, never mind. Okay, I will try to remember it again. There was a misconnection there somewhere. But wow.
Hantu giraffe.
But how did it get here? Right? What's it doing in Singapore? And where is it now? So this was how long ago, man? How old is Simon L. roughly?
This is what 70, I think.
Okay, so this wow. Okay, so this is a long time ago.
I think when we talk about things like that, and this is in reference to what you mentioned just now, John. You said when you see this long neck ghost, you'll be fascinated, and I do believe that for most of us, if we do see something strange, out of the canon version of hantus that we know, our first thought may not be fear. It's more amusement, amaze than anything else. So we always talk about how when spirits why do spirits appear in front of you in a very ugly way, or why do spirits appear in front of you in taking the form that you recognize them as a classic hantu. Because they feed off that fear energy that you exude when you see them. So creatures like this, they could perhaps take forms, or this could be their original form. And it wasn't intending to scare you. You didn't bother that you were there. For most of the cryptids or the hantu that we discussed today, none of them seem to want to be in your presence.
Yeah.
It's almost like they got caught by you.
Caught them in a private moment, right? Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, John, like, could these various entities be their original form? And if they wanted to appear in front of you for you to recognize that they are demonic or ghostly, then they would take the form that you in your mind understand what fear is. Yeah. So whether it's Japanese ghosts or Asian ghosts, they are around this area. And if you look at what Waller's Natural Trail talks about and evolution, how these animals, although they are from different continents, they still exist, because there was at one point in time Pangea and all the lands were together. So if we think that these spirits are ancient, then it makes sense that they could be in this area just hidden in plain sight. And we only are lucky because we started Supernatural Confessions, and even when I first started this channel years ago, this kind of confessions did not come in until when people started knowing us more and more. So it could be that there were 10 sightings a year, but none of it was reported.
Right.
Yeah. But because of pop culture reference, we see, this Japanese has claimed this creature. So we think, there's a Japanese ghost. But is it a Japanese ghost? Or is it just an entity that exists in the other plane, and it could very well come into our world in Singapore? Yeah. So I'm thinking that.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, right? If you take the logic of just natural diversity, right? Which is what we were talking about earlier, right? That there must be a huge spectrum of them, and there's absolutely no reason to assume that they all start with humanoid as the basic template. Right? That's us being arrogant. What makes you think they want to look like you?
Made in
right?
our image.
Correct. Gross. All right. Neck so short. you know. So yeah, it could entirely be right. I mean, look at the sheer diversity of, let's say, dinosaurs, for example, right? How freakingly diverse dinosaurs are, to the extent that some dinosaurs to us sound, unbelievable, right? So has the world gotten evolutionarily less interesting, right? Because all the weird offshoots have died off, right? They're trying out all the different versions, right? Long neck, short neck, medium neck, right? And then finally, okay, this neck seems to be good, but there are a few outliers maybe still hanging around, right? So yeah, I think we've gotten more boring, but hopefully within the Hantu world, where things move differently, maybe they've retained that weirdness, and I love the idea that, so everyone, don't be misled. We've given this the name, Hantu Leher Panjang, but it's not as if there's already a established canonical Hantu Leher Panjang out there.
Yeah,
We're
there
just
isn't. There isn't. This
we're
is the
just
name.
we're just hoping that there is, okay? And if there is, then that's your name now, okay?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen,
We are
if you-
naming it.
Yeah, we John and I from Supernatural Confessions, we are claiming the name Hantu Leher Panjang. Okay, so this is not official.
It is the Southeast Asian variety of the Rokurokubi.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be exciting. But it's different from the Rokurokubi because its head was huge, right? Its head was like the size of a 10-year-old kid, right? So it was massive, right? And so that's also quite interesting, which means that and yet the body was, I assume, human size.
Human size.
So that's really quite
No.
extreme.
Wait, let me read the line again. It says, no, it was
Oh,
tall.
no,
it was
no,
tall.
no.
Lanky,
It
but
was tall. It
huge.
was
It was
tall.
huge.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
the
So
whole
then
thing was huge.
the proportions are there. Okay. So okay, I'm thinking, right? Yeah, like Eugene said just now about the difference between fear, right, and being fascinated, right? I think that the line is where there's recognition, right? Where there's recognition, where the thing is close enough to us that we can connect to it. That's when it becomes fear, right? A thing in a mask, a thing missing a head, a thing floating, right? A thing standing on the ceiling, something that is something that should follow our rules but doesn't purposely, right? Can trigger fear. But when the thing is completely out there, right, so different that I don't even think you share any commonality with me, then that fear isn't the same. It becomes a kind of, there may be disgust.
There's that bell curve, right?
Yes.
From here to here is fear, then everything else is too far off. You're not.
So a good example, right, would be the idea of the circus freak, right? Right? No, the reaction to circus freaks was not fear; it was disgust. But the disgust came with a huge fascination. I pay money to go and be disgusted, and I wouldn't run away. I wouldn't run away, right? Because it's far enough from me that a different instinct kicks in. What the hell is that? Rather than I got to get out of here. Right? So a lot of what's in this episode, the WTF, right, is that you actually want to stand there and ask yourself that question. Normally at home you see hantu, you no need to ask what it is, you just zao, right? I don't want to know what you are. I don't want to know why you're here. But here there's that split second of fascination, which is very, very, very different, right? Yeah. Wow. I tell you, if this whole season there has been one entity I want to meet, it is the Hantu Leher Panjang. I seriously, I hope it has hands because I want an autograph. And I don't know how to take a selfie. Panorama.
Panoramic shot upwards.
I don't know, man. It is amazing. And the thought that it might, okay, I really hope it lives a long time as well. Because I don't want to think that it's died since since this confession. I really hope it's still around. Wow. Come, we go Bukit Timah and find. Okay.
There's a Shah Horizon asks, is it the same? Is Lehe Panjang is the same as the Hantu Gala? No, Shah Horizon, Hantu Gala is a very tall ghost, or actually in Malay mythology, it's a demon that possesses tall trees. it's very tall.
Mm.
But that's long legs, not long neck.
Mm.
This one
Actually,
is long neck.
Yeah, Gala is everything is long,
Mm.
right? Everything is tall, but the neck is still proportionate lah.
Mm.
It's proportionate, yeah. Whereas this one clearly, everything is proportionate except the neck,
Okay.
right? Wow, it's amazing,
Nice,
it's
huh?
really amazing. I can't get over it. I want a diagram. I want a diagram.
John is gonna go out camping at Bukit Timah trying to find this leher panjang.
Yeah, naki.
Okay, John.
Oh, man.
Okay, so now the time is 11:55. We are half an hour, 35 minutes away from the end of our season finale.
Wow.
So fast, huh? So fast.
Yikes.
Once again, I think, oh shit, I have not even put up any of the ads today.
Okay, you do your ad. Let me do the last story.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you for listening to the Supernatural Confessions podcast. If you are enjoying the show and would like to support our efforts, you can help by giving us a 5-star review or by becoming a patron by signing up for a monthly membership fee that starts from as low as $5. Check out the perks at patreon.com/supernaturalconfessions. That's patreon.com/supernaturalconfessions. Or if you feel like showing a simple gesture of appreciation, you can buy us a cup of coffee or two at buymeacoffee.com/superconfess. And now, let's get back to the show. Supernatural Confessions, the live show happening on 6th of January 2024. It's a Saturday from 6:30 till 10 with post-show mingle. Great show with John and I, some guests that we will be inviting for the show as well. Tickets are going at $48. Get your tickets now. Half the tickets have been sold out already, so it's half left. We only have the whole of December to sell it. Get your tickets right now. Okay, oops. Okay, John.
I remembered the thing that I forgot.
Okay, what was it?
Right. Okay. This one I need the collective memories of the whole community, right? So in some films, I think probably Thai films, maybe one or two Hong Kong films, right? We have seen the image of a long-necked suicide ghost. A ghost that has a person has hung himself, and for some reason in death, the body just stretches until the feet touch the ground again. And so when they appear, the spirit is with this super long neck, right? I've definitely seen it in a Pang Brothers film. I do not know which one. And the Pang Brothers were both Thai as well as Chinese. So, I don't know which side they were drawing this from. But if anyone out there knows the image of a hanged man whose ghost has a long neck, please let me know what it's called. Yeah, or was it something that the Pang Brothers invented? Because that's also quite possible, right? So let us know if you've come across this before, right?
I'm looking at Google right now to see.
I definitely was totally freaked out by it when I first saw it. It's like, wow, yet it makes so much sense, right? If you hang there, and yeah, well, gravity lah, but also the logic that you want to sort of connect back to the earth, right? So it's almost as if you are compelled, your legs are just pulling downwards, and then your neck becomes. So it's not just something that's a feature; it's part of their suffering, right? But yeah. So let us know if you come across it.
Okay, the next one, John.
Okay, come.
The one that you love a lot. I would love to have an artist draw this as well. So if any of you can draw the leher panjang ghost or this particular ghost that
please.
please draw it and send it to me.
Can you draw me next to the leher panjang? Thank you.
Fanboy, he's a fanboy.
Yeah, fanboy.
My number is 9459-4931. Text me, okay? So this next confession, she's also an elderly lady. Met up with her, did not want to be filmed. But she didn't mind giving an audio confession. Speaks very well. I think she's from her confession. I felt that she was into a line of work that doesn't just jump to conclusion. Okay, this one happens took place in Punggol, also many, many years ago, because
Mm.
this happened when she was a child. The next story is The Lantern Head of Punggol Avenue. Confession by Auntie Lewis. John, over to you.
I grew up in one of the private houses along one of the Punggol avenues. My room was on the third floor, which I shared with my elder sister. The window was circular, and that's the iconic design feature of our home. Side info, my dad was an architect. Those who recognize the round window will know exactly which avenue I'm talking about. From my window, it overlooked the garden and the front gate. Opposite my home back then was just a forested area. When I was younger, I would say that I had the third eye. But as I got older, I began to lose the ability to see them. I think my parents knew about it because I remember them telling me to keep quiet, don't talk about it. But being young, I had no filter. Anything I saw, I would point out. To me, they weren't really scary, just whimsical. Fortunately, I didn't meet any gruesomely ugly ones. I might have met a Pontianak once, I think. I couldn't see her face, but it was tall, very tall. The signature long white flowing gown and long black hair. I waved at it and it flew away. This was long before I even knew what a Pontianak was. I only learned about this entity in secondary 2 during a school camp where the more vocal classmates were sharing stories to scare each other. I could also see my dolls coming to life and religious idols at home moving, though to my own chagrin, my sister and my parents couldn't see what I was seeing. My sister, who was 5 years older than me, I was the baby of the family with overactive imagination. That still didn't stop me from pointing out to her and scaring her into yelling for my parents. The more they didn't want me to talk about these things, the more I did. One of the entities I befriended was a lady who visited me many times and always only during the 7th month Hungry Ghost Festival. She would stand outside my house and look up at my window. I say look because she didn't really have eyes or a head for that matter. But by the position of her body, I knew that she was facing my direction. She was dressed in a traditional red dress, and in place of a head, she had an old Chinese funeral lantern. Like I said, opposite my house was a forest. There was nothing there that I could have mistook for something as bright as a lantern. And it wasn't someone holding a lantern in front of her face either. Okay, maybe if she did, then she has done it consistently for more than 50 times. She visited my home for 3 years. And then I think about the age of 12 or 13, I couldn't see her anymore. I could feel what she felt. We both felt lonely and misunderstood. There was also a lot of pain and angst. Whenever she appeared, I would cry uncontrollably. While I enjoyed her near nightly visits, the problem was that whenever she was around, mishaps and misfortune followed. Back then, I was too young to understand, but eventually, when my parents and I spoke about it openly in my adult years, I learned that for each of those 3 years, there was a death in my house. And if I try to recall now, my home wasn't the only one that was affected. The first victim to be claimed by the lady with the lantern head was my helper. Back then, my parents told me that she had left us to return home, but in actual fact, she had passed away. But what was peculiar was that my helper had told my mum the night before her passing she had seen a lantern floating outside in the garden. My mom, who couldn't see what she saw, told the helper this was probably someone burning paper outside in the streets, and the lantern was just a floating piece of burnt offering paper she had seen. But the maid was insistent that it was unmistakably a lantern. The helper did not wake up the next morning. The following year, a family friend visited from overseas and stayed with us for the week. She too saw a floating lantern and fell sick the next day. She cut her trip short and left, and that was the last my parents heard of her. When news got back to them months later, apparently the family friend went into a coma and never recovered. The third year, we lost our dog. It had been barking incessantly one night at the gate. This incident I recall clearly because I could see what my dog was barking at, and I remembered even chuckling to myself. When I woke up the next morning, my parents told me my dog must have run off. Of course, I cried and cried my eyes out. And that's how I remember this third incident very vividly. What they didn't tell me was that our dog had died and they buried him in the forested area opposite our home. According to my parents, there were other incidents: a vase falling off the cupboard and a broken glass shard piercing my dad's leg, the fruits on our jackfruit tree in our garden rotting, giant centipedes appearing out of nowhere and devouring my mother's herb garden. To be fair, many of these could be purely coincidental, and I'm not willing to draw a supernatural conclusion from them. You know how the mind works when it comes to fear more than anything else, Eugene. In my line of work, I'm trained to only draw conclusions from direct evidence. The last time she appeared to me, I remember that day very clearly as well, even though the incident took place almost 50 years ago. The lady with the lantern head beckoned me to follow her. She said that I didn't belong here and that she was going to take me to a place where I belonged. I remember saying I didn't want to go without my family and I had to ask permission first. The entire night, the thought repeated itself in my head: follow me to a place where you belong. I cried that night till my pillow was soaked, but thankfully, I didn't go to sleep that night. I sat at my window just looking at her until daybreak, and then she vanished. This was the last I saw of her. We moved out of that house many years later, and I only drove by that place on a few occasions. But since the whole neighborhood had changed drastically, I couldn't recognize the Punggol I grew up in. Every time I drive into Punggol at night, I keep a lookout, hoping to see a bright floating lantern. But I never did. I like this. I like this story. It is rare to have a story that is absolutely karas, but the person didn't react with fear. You know, maybe she was a child, maybe she was a whimsical child, so she was able to deal with it in a very different way, you know. But it's almost a story of companionship, right? It was a friendly visitor, right? She clearly misses the person. She goes back looking for the person, you know. Yet there is the possibility that, I mean, what a terrible end, would have befallen her if she had followed that last night. Was it a 3-year campaign to get her soul, right? Win her trust and then lure her away, or was it a benign offer? Was she really trying to save her, right? It depends on, I guess, what you think she is, lah. She appears to have been a sort of a banshee figure, right? Sort of. Do you think she caused the deaths, or was she just signaling the deaths like a banshee used to?
So, great question, John. That was in my head as well when I was listening to the story.
Yeah.
I would like to think that this was not the cause of death, but she may be a Reaper-like character.
Oh, she's collecting them. Or not collecting, but escorting them.
Her presence heralds, the demise of some people, and she collects the souls. Maybe in her spiritual mind, she's doing the good work. And to answer your question, if this was a 3-year campaign, I don't think so. I don't think she was there to try to
Get the
bring
girl.
get the girl. That was not the intention. It was
Right.
the girl who could see things and then happened to, hey, I can see you. And I do not know much about this person's childhood, but from the confession, she was lonely, she's misunderstood. She's the youngest daughter. Maybe she don't feel loved. They could, as a young child, you could be going through a lot of things in your head that may not be true. I mean, the parents probably loved her, but maybe in her young mind, you love my sister more. I'm the outcast of the family. That's why I become a rebel. And
Right.
every time the spirit comes, there is this connection. So the spirit may be thinking, you know what? Come with me. Come to a place where you belong. So it's more of a offering of a gift rather than... But that gift could also mean that in the real world, this girl may not wake up. But could she be happy in the other place, going, she don't have to pay bills, no job, no heartache? It could be, but we'll never know. I mean, now you're just trying to hypothesize what kind of entity this is. And to me, it's not an evil entity. It's trying to do its job, maybe.
So you're quite certain that the deaths are linked to her presence, and not only linked, but the purpose of her presence.
Also, because this was a very long confession when I spoke to this lady, so I had to summarize it to a very short 5 minutes narration. But when she was explaining certain things, she was very systematic. A lot of things, in fact, she debunked herself. No, this is what my parents say. I don't think that's what it is. So for her to lean towards believing that the deaths were too coincidental because it ties in with her appearance, I would like to lean where she's leaning towards as well. That too coincidental that the deaths would always happen when she's around.
No, they didn't happen when she's around though, because the second one, the family friend, only passed on. Didn't even pass on. Right, went into a coma first. So by the time they did pass on, it could have been ages after, and it was certainly after they left the house. So it's only the dog and the helper, right? And so I'm inclined to say there's a 50-50 chance that there's no pattern here. It's just extremely suggestive lah, that it happened to be those 3 years, right? But also I guess it is it's sensible that the sighting stopped as she was 12 or 13, right? Because as the body undergoes changes, you outgrow some of these gifts, right?
You stop seeing things, especially when you hit puberty.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean she stopped visiting. It just means the girl couldn't see her. So this lantern lady could be not a reaper type thing coming because someone's dying, but just there all the time, every 7 months. But that was the only window in which, literally a window, literally that period where the girl could see her. And then subsequently, she cannot see her anymore. Even now, she goes driving in Punggol. Maybe there's a lantern
It's there, but she cannot
following behind her and she cannot see, which to me is the saddest thing, right? That your old friend is still there, but you've lost the ability to recognize her.
Like the graveyard book.
Yes, exactly, right? So I mean, there's a lot of melancholy in this story, which I really like. I like the idea that whatever that entity, yes, I don't think that she was there to get this girl in particular, right? Whatever she was there for, whether she's there all the time, she certainly was drawn to I think this girl's aura, this girl's energy. Maybe she recognized her sadness, right? And I think that fascination led to compassion, right? I think the offer was a compassionate one.
That one I
right?
agree with you as well. It's a compassionate offer.
Yeah, it feels a bit like that film with Jean Reno in it, The Professional.
Oh,
where the assassin makes friends with a small girl.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing. It's like, I've got a job to do, but you're as lonely as I am.
Come with me lah.
Yeah,
Here in a flower pot.
So I think that's wonderful, right? So this links back to what we were discussing earlier, right? The question of whether they can whether entities can read our minds. I don't think they can read minds, but they certainly can feel
Emotions.
what we send out there. I think even something that she was not entirely sure of, right? She didn't call herself a lonely kid or a sad kid, but it was in her, and the spirits could feel that, right? So maybe it's not so much about language and thoughts as it is about the energies that we send out, right? The
Mm.
emotional sort of energy, you know. And that I feel is definitely the kind of language that they can access
Yeah.
much more easily, because I mean, after all, you know, half the reason you're haunted is because something's going on with you, right? Your energy is low, you are this, and you attract the spirit. So obviously, you know, what they're hearing is not the words you say and the thoughts you think, but your inner state, which we ourselves do not know necessarily, right?
And for the spirit to appear in a form, okay, so we're talking a lot about spirit forms. And I think this
Yes.
entire
Okay.
day we have different spirits in different forms.
Well, this one is such a bizarre
Right,
form.
mostly were
Such a bizarre.
naked, very almost very primal. Most of the
Yeah.
entities that from the
Yeah.
golem character to the leher panjang to
Yes.
the face, they are very primal, almost creature like. But this one
Correct.
comes in a, she said, traditional Chinese. I'm thinking
Red.
Cheongsam, right? I'm thinking Cheongsam,
Yep. Yep.
and a funeral lantern for it. Now this is very specific. It's not primal. It's decked
Mm.
up.
Yeah.
And why a funeral lantern? Why not any red lantern? Why you know? So
Mm.
that's why when he says funeral lantern, immediately my thought went to Reaper like. Very, it's a Reaper character.
True. True.
It brings the soul. It's almost like, okay, I'm here. It is your time. I've come to bring you to the other side. Follow the light. This is the light at the end
Yeah.
of the tunnel.
So literally, because A, it's a funeral lantern, and B, the lantern is commonly seen as something that guides the soul towards the afterlife, right? Yeah. So it makes sense.
And he also says that she's misunderstood and she's lonely. So it's like, I'm just doing my job, but everyone's afraid of
Yeah.
me. They think I'm a hantu, walao, you know. So really, I mean, from just the story alone, I imagine this is a lonely Reaper character who's doing the good work. Like, no, I bring you to the other side, guys. This is to the promised land. I'm moving all the other spirits away so you can follow me.
Yeah.
I'm actually there from January to December. But why 7 months? Because there's other spirits out there, and I'm showing you do not belong to the streets. Follow me.
Possible.
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's such an interesting physicality, right? That you wonder whether, you wonder what's behind the design of this. Is this her natural form, or is this a form that she has chosen to take?
Or we
You
also
know?
talk about how spirits appear in the forms that you want to see. And this is a
don't
young
know if anyone
child.
wants- I don't know if anyone
but this
wants to
is-
see that.
Yeah, but this is a young child who's quite whimsical in nature. So that is the child's projection.
But you see,
Oh yeah.
the helper also saw it, and so did the family friend
Oh yeah, okay lah. Floating lantern lah.
from elsewhere. So the lantern's the main thing.
Okay.
The
Lantern is the main
lantern's
thing. So maybe the Cheongsam
Yeah.
could be a
Yeah,
child's
Cheongsam not
deco.
important. Right. So so there is also, again, there is a yokai that matches this one. Okay. Well, not matches lah, similar, right? The Chochin Obake, right? So Chochin Obake, but it is just a lantern, right? A lantern with a face. There's no body attached. So different, right? And not so much related to
Oh,
death,
this cute one, the one with the tongue sticking out. Okay.
Yes, correct.
okay,
Very,
okay.
very popular in pop culture, So the question, I guess, is there a relationship? Is there an overlap here? Or is this really just a unique one-off kind of thing, right? I guess so I mentioned Banshee early on because it is a very archetypal sort of thing, right? To have a spirit more often than not female, right? Who is the harbinger of death, who doesn't cause the death, but warns that a death is imminent, and whether or not it then helps to escort or not is another thing, lah, right? But either way, these are a whole class of misunderstood spirits because nobody loves them because they bring bad news,
Yeah.
right? But not her fault. She's just trying to give you warning. It's like saying, oh, I hate the air raid siren. Is that no need to hate it?
Yeah,
Right? It didn't bring the air raid, but I guess I mean, every culture I think has these lah, has these of some sort, and yeah, this is a uniquely Chinese one. It's very interesting. But then again, okay, we are also making a huge assumption in thinking that she is a class of hantu. because she could really just be one unique thing, you know. That's the cutest version I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't think that one's gonna bring death. Okay. So no, I'm just thinking, is there a possibility that she is just a Pongal spirit, right? Something from the neighborhood, someone who perhaps has a history with this place, who died here, and then now finds herself given extra duties lah. Look after your neighborhood, escort the people who die, befriend the lonely children, so again, it's hard to tell, right, whether when you see one hantu, does that mean that there is really just the one and only one hantu, or whether it's one of a tribe, right? Like the bunyan and all that, so again, we can't tell, we can't be sure, and both combinations are there. So of all the stuff, ayo, what is this one?
Okay, this one the same one, but I got a less cute version.
I mean, okay, but her lantern did not have features,
Yeah, no, hers is just a
Which-
funeral lantern.
which I feel is very mature for a kid. Right? For a kid, you would put a face on it, right? That makes the most sense, right? When we cartoonize anything in our heads, we always put a face on it. To not put a face on it is a very mature choice, So I think she saw what was there, or what was there for others to see as well. Even the dog saw. Even the dog saw, and yet not everyone could see it, right? Only the person who is going to die,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So to me, then she's a ghost. She's more a ghost than anything else. She's not a hybrid thing, that everyone can see, right?
So this is what a Chinese funeral lantern looks like.
That's the tradition, and they are huge. These lanterns, they are really huge. They're not like your Mooncake Festival lanterns. It's easily, I don't know what, half a body height.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wow, what a massive thing, right?
Okay. Sorry, just before we go on, I think the things are going to be pushing up a lot of things. I want to thank
okay.
Atika for her blessings to us as well. Just Jason Lim, giving is it a riddle? Let me check. Oh, what do you get when you? Okay, I asked you. Okay.
Okay, you ask me. I haven't read it.
What do you get when you cross a black cat with the FNL's season's finale?
I give up.
A perfectly spooky ending. Thank you, you beautiful host.
Thank you.
Thank you to Atika.
And also thank you to EliX for her donation. And her message is, thank you guys for each and every episode of FNL. It makes Friday night so interesting and tempting to drink kopi at night to keep my eyes open to watch to the end. Keep it up.
Almost ending in 7 more minutes. Elaine went to sleep already. She says, sorry guys, I cannot stay up.
Okay, come on, EliX, just a bit more kopi and then we're there. Okay.
Yeah. Any other things you want to read from the comment section? Because I think there's some interesting ones that
wow. Okay,
up.
come, we scan. Okay. Let's see. Ayo, people being dirty lah. There's a male long neck ghost, but only elongates when he gets excited. Ha ha ha. Che. Let's see. Why are you talking about prata curry? Okay.
There's one from Ines Sharon.
Okay.
The lantern is like the light to guide the soul of the deceased away. For the one who is in coma, maybe the person negotiated to stay on for a while more. Got good credit, so the wish granted. Maybe
Possible?
you could. I mean, there are some books that say you could negotiate with the Reaper.
Okay. GF00 is saying there's a type of creature in Chinese mythology that has a face in the body. Okay, this is going back to our earlier one. A face in the body and no head. It is called Xing Tian. Okay, this would have been from the Shanhai Jing, right? Which is the it's the book of the book of mountains and seas. The same book that the what's that Marvel movie?
Which one?
And the Ten Rings. What's his name?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi,
Yeah.
right? Yes, it's the same book that Shang-Chi got some of their creatures from, the Shanhai Jing. It is one of the go-to sources for ancient Chinese mythology. So yes, correct. There is a sort of, so you see, tonight we're hearing all these ancient spirits still hanging around. Damn shook.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bruns 898 says, Jon and Eugene, thank you for the FNLs.
Thank you, Bruns, for joining us. Wow, someone else saying, oh, okay. So Daphne thinks that it is possible that is luring the girl to take her life.
Yeah, but taking her
Entirely
life in
possible.
what intent is
Yeah, lah. It might be taking her life to free her from this life, which is not necessarily the best life, right? So yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Brenda Chia says, I think the entity knows that it's time that the girl won't be able to see her. So she beckoned her to follow. So the entity knew that it was the last 7 months. So last chance, right? Because next time I come back, she cannot see me anymore. I like that. I like that that reasoning. It's quite possible, you know. Wow. Okay. Nice lah tonight's
nice, huh?
stories and the comments all. I mean, we're learning a lot about not the depth but the width of the Hantu world, right? You know, and how diverse they can be and how different they can be. And thanks for all the questions, because it's making us also think about really complex but basic things like, you know, can they read our minds? Can they sense heat?
Good question.
You know,
very good.
yeah,
question.
because it really makes you wonder what is fundamental to being Hantu and what is idiosyncratic to specific Hantu, right? You know, and I mean, we've also learned, for example, that like, you know, Eugene and I point out during the Hantu walk in Changi that, you know, Hantu itself is such a broad term, right? And many of the Hantu that are described are not even related to anything being dead or spiritual. They are people who are under a magical sort of call it curse, call it whatever you want, lah, right? You know, a superpower that comes from magic, you know. So Hantu is broader than that, right? You know, and I think definitely here in SC we deal with the whole range, you know, right? Hence the title of my book is Between Gods and Ghosts. Right? Because, you know, I do believe very, very deeply that there's so much of a spectrum. Right, so much of a spectrum, right? And tonight we're hearing some of that spectrum. Wow, it's really eye-opening, you know. Wow, I'm going to dream of Leher Panjang tonight.
So with that, we hope that you have enjoyed 2023 Friday Night Live with us. It's been such great honor for you, for me, to have you guys joining us every Friday night. And you know, even the Vitsi team was like, wow, before the show even started, there's already 80 plus people there waiting to come in, you know. And you know, stats like this, I don't take it for granted. It wasn't easy building Supernatural Confessions up to where it is today. And I think with John's you know, joining Friday Night Live this year, this is your first year with us.
Yes. Oh wow.
Right. We come to the end of 1 year run together with you. It really took the show in a different direction and different dimension. And with that, also the confessions that coming in this year is unprecedented. I have so many more confessions I have not dug through yet. But this December, I'm going to spend time reading them and putting them together for next year.
Archiving time.
Yeah. I also, Facebook has a lot of confessions. I have not gotten a chance to use those content for the show, but please keep them coming in. And if you're wondering where else can you find Supernatural Confessions and their content, we are on Facebook group. We are mainly on YouTube. And also we are building up the website so that next year you see a brand new Supernatural Confessions platform. 6th Gen, please join us. You know, that'll be something that we have almost like a mid show, like the end of 2023 before 2024. And we are starting the show next year. You guys are hearing it here first. The dates that we will be starting next year is, and John and I have discussed this, it will be on the 16th of February.
After Chinese New Year.
Because 9 is Chinese New Year, 16 February is our first episode of 2024 season.
Sure. So put that in your calendar, please, everybody.
Premier Mitsui says great show, keep it up. What do you have? So Thanks, Jon and Eugene from
Aw.
Hanjay. LY says, happy to join the SC fam at the tail end of the year. Best way to spend Friday nights. Thank you.
Brenda is saying, I hope I find enough time to binge all the past videos. Yes, you have December and January to go and binge.
Navinet, thank you very much. Navinet, you guys have seen his name pop up every now and then. He's been with us since the dawn. No, not really the dawn of SC, but from the very first few live shows. It's all the way now. He's also the silent moderator working behind the scenes to put your confessions into an archive for me. He's also the one approving, declining, and doing a lot of the heavy lifting quietly behind the scenes, sometimes suffering from negative comments on Facebook where people, hey, why you decline my post? And just
Champion.
so a lot of names. Eunice as well, Ernest, who are also moderators of the lounge chat. The lounge chat was something we experimented with, and we wanted to know, would allowing a little bit of free reign to the community worked, without having all that very strenuous policies in place. And of course, you want to join us and find out a bit more, go to our website or just text me 9459491. We have a sign up registration form where we can just email you in case, social media don't last forever. But if we have some way to contact you directly, you will always be able to receive information from us. And of course, being our Patreon is the best way to get in touch with us. And if you are sentient, we have different perks and benefits, souls, spirits as well, with different price points. Everything is designed so that it's accessible to you guys. Yeah.
I must read this very appropriate comment. So Bruns898 is saying, I will be one of your Patreons because I cannot get enough.
Oh, thank you.
Vizzy has indeed chosen the right person. I think SC is the best channel for the supernatural. Thank you so much, Bruns.
Yeah.
Oh, so much love. Okay, so much love. It's a wonderful way to end the season. I think we've talked about it before in certain episodes, but sometimes you're just grateful for the community that's here, what we talk about and all that. I mean, lots of people talk about it, it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere, but it's a special thing to be able to come together as a community and on one hand to passionately dig and ask questions and challenge each other, but also to have a hell of a lot of fun doing it, and laugh and talk nonsense, and I think that's the combo, right? That's the sweet spot, because we are dead serious about the supernatural, but we're not. We are, right? We're dead serious, but we're not doing it in a dry serious way, and I think that's very important, and this season I've learned that it's a lot about being it's like a Thanksgiving episode like that, but I'm also glad that we've gotten the confessions and the guests and also the questions from the community that allowed us to go in different directions, because Eugene and I don't script this. We know what stories are putting out there, and that's about it. Right? The direction that it goes in depends entirely on the chemistry here within the chat, and between the two of us. And I'm personally very grateful that it's given me the chance to discover a lot of humanity behind the supernatural this season, right? Some of you were definitely around when we had episodes where we were challenged to be compassionate in the way that we relate to the stories and then respond and all that, and I think I've never had a chance before the supernatural in such a intimate and human way, and I owe that entirely to Eugene and to SC and to every one of you out there in the group. So thank you very much.
Elia Mona Lisa is asking a very important question, John. John will be back next season, yeah?
Or will I be like the lantern head? You come with me now.
He's immortal. He will be here forever.
Yes, next season will be fantastic, But for now, I think, it really does feel like a Thanksgiving episode. What did you learn? What did you learn most, Eugene, this season?
Looking back at the previous era of hosts that I had, I give thanks and recognition to Team O and ET. When they came into the picture, Team O came with a blank slate. So it was just me talking. And I'm not an expert, but I'm probably one step ahead of people because I had some experience and I was able to share that openly. And then ET came in only just to give us an alternate point of view because I was saying that, I can't always be right? Like I want to be able to have a discussion, not just lecture, because when it was just Timo and me, it was just me telling you guys what I think, and I think that then became sort of like the law, like, oh, you just say so, therefore it must be. But if it is, then there's nothing to discuss because this is science, it's fact. So when ET came in, he was then tasked with a very difficult position of debunking me. And it's not easy. So most times she's like, hey bro, I also believe this story. How? I say, you cannot believe. you must find a way to disbelieve, so he was like the other end of the spectrum. And this, after the end, like nearing the end of 2 to 3 years, he was like, it's exhaustion, it's EMF. I mean, you guys were there. Some of the old folks who actually was with us from the start. Like it became almost like a tongue-in-cheek joke because there was nothing else to debunk. And then the next era of hosts came in with what's that tall guy? His name just eludes me right now. What's the cuckoo bird fella lah? What's his name? Then there's Sonia, then there's JDC. So then it was a bit lighthearted because they're not experts as well. They have not had any experiences. They don't do investigation, but we were able to laugh at things. We made the supernatural palatable to people, not scary. And that opens up a lot of discussion. But then it was still just me, when it becomes to dissecting, it was just my voice. And I knew Jon, if you guys have been with us, I knew Jon for 5 seasons of
5 seasons.
Ghost Mortem. And when we are not on show, when we are having supper, we would talk about the supernatural. That's all we kind of talk about. And I found that we can have 3-hour-long conversations about the supernatural in many different angles, many different width and depth. But never once did Jon or myself come across as know-it-all and says our way is the right way. But through that dissection and discussion with you, Jon, off screen, I started thinking more about the possibilities of things. Especially when I hear a story, I go like, it's one hantu. You go like, could it be more? Right? And so I thought to myself, hey, why don't we take that dynamics and chemistry that we have over Prata table to the show? And I kind of knew where Jon stood, but nothing was scripted. So a lot of things were unplanned. And what you hear us talk about is all really as natural and, authentic. That's the word I want to say, as it can be. So Jon, you asked me what did I learn about this season? I learned that every time I think I know the answer, there are 10 other answers that could be just as possible. So you make me doubt myself, and I want to doubt myself because I want to have that childlike curiosity, the childlike enthusiasm when I look at the supernatural world. The minute I know everything, the minute I think I am the Lord and Savior of mankind, then it gets very jaded very easily.
I think that's true. That's very true. I think we've all seen, in at various times, what happens when people who are talking about the supernatural, who are exploring, who are creating content, become cynical about the supernatural. Very recently there was something that I shared, which really upset me because they were clearly not respecting or there's no wonder left. The supernatural to them was just something to make fun of, and I thought, no, this is something much bigger than us, and the reason we are fascinated is because it makes us like children, right? It makes us both scared and fascinated. Both are things that are childlike. So I'm glad that we have a place where we can come together, pool our knowledge, speculate like crazy people, maybe find something closer to the truth, but at the end of the day we are all like little children, in a toy store, right? Just amazed at the world of the supernatural.
Well,
so
what about you guys? For all of you still listening in, it's 12:40.
or snoozing at their computer.
Yeah, for those of you who are still awake, let us know what you have learned this season and what's your favorite story. We want to hear from you because I think Jon and I have been speaking for 3 hours. Jon, have not gone for a pee break, He's not.
My cat is swimming in a pool of pee. Okay. No
Yeah.
lah. Yeah. No, do let us know. Do let us know. Especially those of you who've been with us for many seasons. You know, I think SC is growing and changing. You know, and yeah, please let us know if you appreciate it. If you see if you appreciate the directions we're going in. You know.
Yeah.
Wow. What time already?
12:40, sir.
Wow, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, next time we have a we have a marathon. It'll be Friday to
Okay.
Saturday morning. Okay, dusk till dawn SC special.
The next year we'll be starting on the show in February. Someone pointed out it was actually Valentine's week. So maybe I will start the first show, kick off with all the love curses and nasi kangkang and all that.
Wow. Thank you all for staying with us all the way. Otherwise, it'll just be me, Eugene, and a lot of hantu in the chat group. But no, you are all still here. Most of you are still awake. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Carlos got 1.5 hours to go. Hello.
You own self talk to yourself. Okay. Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
Atika is
I
still
mean,
awake, man.
it's quite a marathon. But no, seriously, the time just flew by. You know, because I mean, these were great confessions. Great props to Eugene for always finding such unique and rare confessions, going out and meeting the people, you know, and casting his spell on them, you know, getting them to tell their stories, you know. And they probably regretted after that, like, yo, what gong tao he put on me, he say everything out, you know. You know, but yeah, without the confessions, you know, there wouldn't be that unique angle that we have. Right, so it is a combination of all those stories, and then, you know, the passion with which we attack them literally, right? We, like, you know, but always with respect, with compassion, you know, and then out there, all of you asking questions and sharing memories. So it's pretty amazing what happens here.
We have
Okay, Ivan giving us time check. Ivan, Nami Network is saying, I thought it's supposed to be 12:30.
No, actually that was I'll tell you about that joke in a bit, because when I put out the first advert, I put that we will start the show at 9:30 and it will run all the way to 12:30 p.m. So that's tomorrow. 14 hours of show.
Lunchtime.
Devin Des, thank you for your blessings. It's your first super on a live stream. Thanks to Eugene and John for FNL for the entire 2023. Always don't be sad when it's over, but smile, because FNL had happened over the years. Chia Hao hi, I just came. So you just came for the show, you just came. You got me confused.
Okay, either way, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
We're not going to recap for you, okay, Chia?
Ines Sharon.
Please watch the video.
Ines Sharon says, I'm glad I joined for the ghost tour. The experience was refreshing.
It was good to meet you too, Ines.
Miss P using my old catchphrase, must be le hantu.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
Daphne just said diagrams for you, John. Really? Okay. Share. Must share. Okay. Let me know where the diagrams are. Yay.
Any juicy stories? Over lah, Jia Hao, over. You're going to watch the replay. Okay.
It's like the end. It's like after the New Year's Eve party, lah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think we should say goodbye. It's still 45 already. Oh, will you be uploading episodes on Spotify, Ronald? Yes. There will be. Now that I'm back on Spotify, there will be all this will be on Spotify. In fact, I actually have someone help me with that. His name is Adam Che. He is helping me produce all the FNLs into podcasts and putting them up religiously. So it's his first time doing it, so I'm guiding him. So it took a while, but he has 6 in store ready to go up. I'm just going to vet through to make sure that everything's okay. And yes, the answer is yes, we will be on Spotify.
Yay. And there are many of you who discovered us through Spotify. You never seen our faces. So please come to the live show on Jan 6 and see us for real. Okay? Yeah, we do exist.
Someone thought I'm Russell Lee. No, I'm not Russell Lee, guys.
A choy. Okay, thank you again, everyone, for hanging out with us. Not just tonight, but for the whole year. Right, it's been really wonderful. It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
And I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible on Jan 6th.
That's right. The link is above. Go and click it, and we'll see you soon. Last word. What parting lines, John? Parting lines.
Ayo, it feels like it's been like half an hour of parting lines. But
Parting catchphrase.
okay, today's catchphrase. Wow. I think we will appreciate the supernatural more if we treat them as humans.
Okay. I'm going to end off 2023 episode with my very old catchphrase. When in doubt, it must be the hantu. Good night, everybody. We'll see you
Take
on 6th
care.
of January.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.